getting okay, we're good. We got audio. All right, here it comes, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. The show proper begins in 3, 2, 1.
Pull yourself together.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Core. I want to hear that in your new guitar, Bo. Can you do that in your new guitar?
I can.
We should. I want to hear it. Our intro.
It'll probably sound pretty similar because distortion sort of. Yeah. The differences between instruments kind of, you lose the timbre when you just throw tons of distortion on it, but I'm sure it'll sound great.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to it. Bo's beard slowly coming back. John's beard never left. It's just still here. Looking good, John. I like it.
Hi, John's beard.
Hi, John's
Hello.
beard. Yeah.
That's my beard speaking through me.
Well, that's what beards do, and I'd like to officially welcome everyone to Core, the only gaming-focused podcast with Retson right in the center. So we hope you enjoy it. It's refreshing. John, we're going to jump right to this because I think this is super interesting. You've done, like you say here, no research. You've given it literally minutes of thought, but John thinks he knows, A, what's killing console gaming, and B, how to tell us about it. So I've been on pins and needles all day about this. I can't wait to hear this because to me, this will be the definitive either future proofing of console gaming or the prediction, the prophetic prediction that console gaming is near dead. And it will be John's lips that will utter these sounds that we will recognize as...
I do believe my lips will be the death of console gaming, but that's not what we're here to talk about today.
Okay.
No, so this is what we call in the biz engagement farming. I'm being honest with you. I was in the show notes just goofing around, and while I was goofing around in the show notes, I had a wild thought, and I went, that's wild. And I was like, I wonder if that's true. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to write it down and put it in the show notes, seeing as I'm sure this will get buried by the time the show starts anyway.
Yeah.
Nope. Here we are talking about it. So here is my thought for the moment. And again, sometimes when I think of something to say, I tend to think about, multiple points of view, what somebody might say to counter a point, have a debate of sorts. I have given this none of that thought. I thought this thought, I wrote it down that I had it, and then I moved on with my life. And honestly, I'm just glad I still remember what I think is killing console gaming a day later.
All right.
Here's what I think is killing console gaming. You all get in the comments, get in the chat. Tell me if I'm up a hill with this wild thought. You guys here, we can talk about this.
Yeah.
I think console exclusivity is what is killing console gaming.
Interesting.
What I think is probably what most console makers think their greatest strength is actually inherently their greatest weakness. And I think we're seeing that in the form of, I think we're going to talk about them later too. Helldivers 2 is already one of the biggest hits that Sony has ever had on the back of its success on PC. Yeah. We're seeing constant stories about, hey, it's so crazy that this AAA console exclusive game is doing bad numbers. It's doing terrible. It's doing terrible. And it feels like the common denominator, more often than not, just seems to be, well, the problem is it's on console. It's only on console. And I'll tell you another driving factor to this is people said, hey, John, when are you going to talk about Final Fantasy Rebirth? Game I pre-ordered and still have not played. We're going to talk about Stellar Blade today because I finally played it. That's a game that I've been sitting on for a while because it's on console. And I just don't want to go play my console. And I think we're getting to a place where consoles, they cost a lot of money. And I think more and more people out there are going, why don't I just buy a good gaming PC and just play that rather than bother with, I got to buy this for this or this for this. I think it's actually a detriment to do exclusives, and I think it's killing interest in consoles, and as a result, I think it's killing the console gaming experience anyway.
Do you think that this has always been the case, or have there been phases? Because I would argue that there have been phases in the history of console gaming where their exclusivities were a huge part of why.
No, I think it used to be good.
Okay.
I think it used to be important. I think especially when it was a graphics race, especially when it was a case of like, yeah, but you want your games to look good, so buy a console. But I think we're getting to a spot where even like, last gen graphics are comparable to this gen's graphics. Like they're close. It wasn't such a big leap. And I think as a result, the breadth of PC machines and what you can pay for those has gotten really wide. And I think it's extremely easy to go, well, I'll just buy a PC. We can play this on the PC. We can play this on the PC. I don't have to bother with all this BS about like, oh, you can't play that here. You can't play that here.
I think there's probably an era too where consoles were excelled at a certain style of game. Like the Marios, right? It's like these games are not really available on PCs at the time, but during the NES era, you were like, oh man, Final Fantasy, like I got to play that here because we're just not making those games at the time.
Yeah, because
it's all evened out now, right? But there used to be like, oh no, I want to play this game. It didn't feel like they were just making it because they were making it for that, but the hardware was for gaming. So I needed the console.
Part of the problem back then too, especially like mid '90s and stuff, was input was different, right? Like you had these game pads that meant fast, quick, twitchy movements that, to be quite honest, the way game pads worked on PCs were a huge, giant pain in the ass. And if you could find one that worked, well, great. Good luck to you, and good luck having enough games to support it to make it matter. It was always behind in that department. It's just no longer a thing. Like I can plug controllers into freaking iPads now. I can put them anywhere I want to put them.
Like refresh rate was always bad on PC. Like for action games, like I remember playing action games, but the screen would redraw, so you get lots of flickering. But that would never happen on the console games.
Right.
Well, actually, it would sometimes, but not often.
Much less so. Like you'd get it with NES stuff. That was more.
Yeah,
of a
you were like,
problem,
I'm getting a good gaming experience out of the console. I want the console.
Right.
But now it's like they're all PCs. Like that's all plateaued essentially. Anything you can play on any console, you can play on the computer, and very few people are fooled by the difference.
I think you're both making really good points. The only argument I would have that says different or would counter this would be, or the reason I think there's more juice left in the console world is that while all of that's true, there are a lot of people who still buy a console every generation, and usually later into the generation. They don't go day one, is because this is also where they're streaming all their content from Netflix and Prime and everybody else and their dog. And they see it as kind of like a way to do that and have games and have time on the couch and kick back and Call of Duty for a few hours. Like I still think that stuff is sellable stuff. But to John's point, there's really no exclusives advantage anymore. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think it's actually very detrimental to them. And we've seen many recent examples of it, especially from Square Enix. They're like, man, we put Rebirth out and we just don't understand why these numbers aren't where they're supposed to be. I do. You put it in one place. It's not even that it's a console problem. It's a one place problem. I also think that putting games on PC, be nice if those were also on consoles. Some of them. Many of them are. Actually, most of them are. But I think that's a problem to say, or it's at least a problem if you're not going to admit the reason your sales suck is because you've got one place and one place only. Put them everywhere. Stop thinking around.
That's their biggest sales window is the launch weeks, right?
Right.
Like if you relaunch later, you probably have some launch hype, but nothing's going to compare to your initial launch hype.
Right.
Unless you're in early access and maybe you pick up a lot of wind. But like Manor Lords will never make as much money as it did last week.
And it feels like Microsoft knows some of this, and that's why they're planning for the future. Now we may disagree with some of the how methods they do it or whatever, but their focus on Game Pass has given them a bridge, and the bridge is Game Pass is on PC and it's on consoles. And for one small price a month, you've got both, and you can go back and forth, and your saves are going back and forth, and you're going to get discounts on stuff even if they're not part of Game Pass. and we don't care where you play it wherever you want. Oh, would you rather just buy it on Steam? Great, go ahead and do that. Like, I think that their method of saying put them everywhere, including our hardware if you want to, but it's not our focus anymore, I think is smart based on John's prediction, because I don't think John's wholly wrong about this. I just think the way we look at consoles is either going to change drastically or continue to limp along like this. But I no longer think, with maybe the exception of Nintendo.
Nintendo, I think, has set a standard outside of the normal gaming space. And I think that might be what Sony and Microsoft ultimately have to do too, is they might have to sell you less on the console as it's traditionally known and more on a concept that makes it good for your household. Because again, I'm not saying it's gonna die. I genuinely think AAA gaming is doomed. We're going down a dark hole with that. That's a different conversation. I don't want that to happen. I don't think consoles are necessarily going to die, and I don't want them to die. I have 2 Xboxes in this house. I have a Wii and I have a PlayStation 5 and a couple of PlayStation 4s that I don't think are hooked up at the moment. I have consoles. I buy consoles. I think they have a good use in this world. But I also think that, I know my habits as a gamer, and while I'm just one person, there are certainly going to be other people that feel similarly to me, which is just, I don't want to drag that out for one game. It's not worth it. I'll wait a year. It'll come out on PC. I don't need this. I don't need to go out and buy a PlayStation just because Final Fantasy's coming out.
Well, how close are you? Are we? Do you think to a Steam box a refresh?
Oh, interesting.
Because Switch, Steam Deck is basically a Switch, and now except it solves all the problems you're talking about.
Yeah. It's also more powerful.
Now, every computer there's an Asus, there's a Rogue, a Republic of Gamers, there's another one coming out. Like everyone's making a Switch now. DMCA this Nintendo. And so why wouldn't Valve also be like, oh, just to Scott's point, you need a box that you can get TV apps on, an entertainment box, but also your Steam library, which contains God of War, all the playable console games on PC. On your,
just make it a dock for the Steam Deck.
Yeah, that's
the Steam Deck be the console.
Exactly.
So if the Steam Deck literally exists, then that's exactly what you're talking about. And I just think these are like old methods of control. It takes a lot to shake those people out of their traditional business pipelines, because it's the whole value of the company is predicated, I think, on.
Yeah, and all your processes, your methods, your shipping, your manufacturing, all of that stuff's tied up in that working and succeeding. So it's very hard to be agile and move really quickly in that. But and to your point about the Steam Deck, or to Steam's potential living room incursion, the Steam Deck is already that. The problem is they don't sell it with a dock. It doesn't come with one. They sell a dock. But if I have a dock, it's the third party one I got off Amazon. It lets me plug right into my TV and play my PC games like if my PC was hooked to it. Like their next version I will not be surprised. I'll say it this way: will not be surprised if the next Steam Deck iteration, like proper, new version of the Steam Deck, isn't more focused on. It's still the great portability. It's this much faster. It's this much more powerful. Way more storage. Oh, and also we're shipping these with docks that will connect right into your OLED TV and take advantage of those technologies, and you can play it on your butt in the living room. Yeah. I think that's coming.
I honestly think one of their biggest hurdles that Valve has with their hardware is just that they're not known for it. It's a hard thing to break into. People pay attention to what Nintendo does. People pay attention to what Sony does, Microsoft does. And even Microsoft, they put together a hell of a box for a console this generation, and it hasn't done great for them. Phil's the first to admit that they're losing in terms of console sales. Like he says it himself. They've always had a bit of a hard time making a space there. In fact, the best they've ever done was the Xbox 360, which was it was as much about Sony dropping the ball as it was them doing really well for themselves. Yeah. And even then, Xbox 360 had its issues. But it was a time where they were doing really well. Sony was maybe making a bit of a misstep, which they would then, Microsoft would do the very next generation. But I think Valve has a hard time getting out there and getting views because the people that they immediately cater to, that they immediately have access to, that understand what they're bringing to the table, are already on PC.
Yeah.
You're trying to sell somebody on a new technology that has literally in front of them the technology that they want, and it works fine. And that's a harder sale than, somebody else, Nintendo going, oh, we're doing a handheld console hybrid. You're like, oh, well, that's exciting because I already look at you guys to say, what are you doing for a console?
And handhelds.
So this is,
yeah.
So you're just falling right into that wheelhouse. Valve is saying, hey, pull Steam up on your probably gaming capable PC, and we're going to try and sell you on a less powerful gaming capable PC out there for your TV. And you're like, no, I'm good, because I'm exactly where I need to be.
Right.
I think that's a trick they need to figure out. And they got the money to probably do it. So I think they just need to make a strong investment in it and realize that they're going to need to be targeting people that aren't their base level audience.
Sure. And Steam Deck's done well enough for them, I think, to greenlight all plans for Steam Deck. Whatever they're working on, I don't think there's no holding back like there was with Steam Link and other things where it was experimental, didn't sell that great. Steam controller was kind of a bummer. Didn't do that great. You didn't see follow-ups to those, but I think the Steam Deck has proved itself already from a financial standpoint. And also, right now, I just searched for Steambox console on 3 different search engines, on DuckDuckGo, Google, and Bing. All of them served back top-level results for Steam Deck links. They are clearly all in on that. To the point that they're doing SEO that are driving people to Steam Deck, even if they search for this old-ass idea. So I don't think they're going to make another box. I think if they do anything, they'll go more Switch with a handheld device like this. And what you'll see, because, the game's running at, 800 by 12, whatever it is. It's perfect for the small screen. It's not an issue. It's amazing, actually, what you can pull off in that game. 60 frame per second freaking CyberPunk looks amazing on the OLED Steam Deck. It's absolutely gorgeous. However, upscaling to a TV is a different issue. So I think new hardware and technologies to do some of that upscaling, to create that fidelity experience that you would get out of a console. And Nintendo has the same problem. The Switch is it's old now. It's an old chip. It's old. It's 2017. It's been a while. It was never that powerful to begin with. They get away with it. It's okay, but a lot of their games are still running at 720p on your television, whereas 1080p and 4K TVs are ubiquitous now. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is the hardware won't do it. So I think if anyone can do it better, it would be Valve, because it's already a far more powerful machine. Now they just got to make it upscale to televisions well, and then you kind of have your solution. You got your portability, you got your dock. Yeah, they got the best of both worlds, and your PC's over there too. And even if you don't have a PC, you still have it. You still got all your shit. So they have an opportunity moving forward. And they also have an opportunity to partner more or better with people like Microsoft, Sony, and even Nintendo, if they were willing to offer more of their products through this pipeline. And I hope they do. That's what I want out of this deal. But anyway. It's going to be interesting. John, I think I thought you were going to be so controversial, and really, I think I mostly agree with your point.
Well, I think it's worth discussing because, again, I think a lot of people bring different perspectives to the table. Like I said, I didn't think about it that much. I just went, this seems like a problem. I'm going to write it down. There we go. It's done.
Yeah.
Committed to it. But
sure.
I'm sure Scott will kill that for something else for the start of the show. But no, here we are.
Yep.
Everyone wants their own ecosystem.
Yep. And the truth is, we're just
part of it too.
What we're arguing here is that we hand all the keys to Valve, but they've so far been really good stewards of what they do.
They're good stewards. It probably won't last forever either, but yes, I think they're good exemplar in some ways. They probably are overcharging. It's a hefty tax to be on the store, but
yeah,
at least they do a good job.
Yeah, and it's the problem. Well, the problem now, you're starting to see everybody cave, right? Everybody who thought they could do their own store and compete, and they don't need Steam, they've all caved now.
Well, Epic's the major.
Well, with the exception of Epic, yeah.
Epic's the major like thorn in the bush or thorn in the bush.
Yeah.
You know, I can't have it on Steam because it's got to be on Epic, and it's like
Yeah.
okay, like I think it's just like Valve wins so hard that that's why the PC space is like that. Because if we didn't have a Valve, we'd probably be having the same fragmentation we're having in streaming services right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or
Like,
yeah.
Like there's 8 different shows I want to watch. They're on 8 streaming services. I'm paying $150 a month to sub to streaming services. This is what we escaped 10 years ago when we decided to unplug our cable. You know, like what happened? We got to go back to stealing our shows again. Like,
Yeah,
you know, like there's
on.
a real conversation happening about like, guys, what are you doing? You all want to be the man, and we're back to just where we were. And that's part of why I've been watching less TV and movies is I don't want to manage subs. Like I have a life, guys, you know, like, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then they make apps for that, and then those guys make money, and then the guys who want to manage the apps.
It's just easier. It's just, I guess maybe because I have games in my life, so I'm entertained. But like, I could just not watch stuff, you know, which is kind of what I'm choosing in a big way. I'm just like, I'm not like they're really turning me off. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of having a culling right now. I'm cutting services that aren't doing it for me or aren't majorly doing it for me. I can't get rid of Disney Plus. There's too much going on in this house with that, and Hulu's tied into it now, so I can save money. But like Netflix, I could come and go. Sometimes there's shit on there I gotta see, and then there's times where I'm like long stretches where I'm like, well, I'm good. I don't need.
I am curious why I have a Netflix subscription. More often than not, Netflix is the one I'm like, why do I have this?
Yeah.
Besides the fact I actually didn't for a long time. My son, they make it really easy to re-sign up to Netflix because my son is the one who reactivated that subscription. He was just goofing around with the remote, and
wait, Alexander? Alexander's the one that did.
Yeah, it was actually on a core night. I left core and I pulled up my email and I went out there because I had canceled in principle. This was when Netflix was doing its sharing thing, and I was like, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's something we should be encouraging. I think that that's taking power away from the consumer in a really bad way. I'm canceling Netflix. I'm not going to participate in the sharing thing. And so we ended our episode of Core, and I checked my email, and it said, thank you for reactivating your Netflix subscription. And I went out there fire and fury at my wife. Why are you reactivating Netflix? We are taking a principled stance in this house, and we are not reactivating it. And she goes, I didn't. I was going to ask you why you reactivated it because Netflix is on our TV. And it's because my little... at the time, probably 2-year-old boy got a hold of the remote and managed to reactivate that subscription all on his own.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that easy for a 3-year-old to hit the wrong button. That's crazy to me. You know what I mean?
And then I think we both were like, yeah, but what if we watched Pokemon Concierge?
Did you guys? And then you went and made up in the kitchen, if you know what I'm saying.
No, we've been banned from the kitchen.
Oh, no more kitchen for you then.
Yeah. I've been told that's where people eat.
Yeah, people eat there. Never, well, shit where you eat. That's not the same. That's different. But yeah, never.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about this.
Oh no.
Well, I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I was thinking about how like plants, like you eat sunflower seeds, right?
Sure, all the time. In fact, I did today.
And
a little bowl over there.
So isn't that kind of like nature's jizz?
No,
like because they call like jizz, you know, seed. It's like the same thing. I was like, oh, that's how plants reproduce. Like they spit out a seed, it goes in the ground.
Yeah,
and then a baby plant comes out.
Yeah, no.
So I was like, oh, it's like
though,
we eat jizz all the time.
Plants?
Like it's like we eat nature's jizz.
Well,
like,
plants have seeds. Flowers have pollen. I mean, yeah, we all snicker.
It's how they reproduce. It's their vehicle of reproduction.
We all snicker at human reproduction because we're humans and we're in the middle of it, and we all have hormones, and it's all like a thing. But from a broader, if you pull the camera out and you're an unfeeling entity looking at what humans do to reproduce, it's really just kind of boring and weird. Like, eat your ear. There's a baby. Eat your ear. There's another baby. Eat your ear. Yeah. Everyone's got babies.
Yep, that's how it works.
Eat your ear.
Yep.
I'm just saying. I was like, oh, I was thinking about reproduction. I'm not sure the exact context, but I was like, well, how do plants reproduce? And it's like, oh, well, they spit seeds, and I'm like, wait, we eat that.
Yeah, I don't know if they spit them. They don't like
I'm like,
milk.
oh, because like we drink milk, right? Like milk,
Sure.
that's like for babies out of an udder, but it's considered cool. No one's like, ew, gross. It came out of a cow's udder. I'm not drinking that. They're
Some
like, you're
people
like,
are like
Yeah.
some people are.
I don't like it.
but a lot of us like milk, and it's pretty. No one's like, you like milk? What a weirdo. It's pretty normal, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh well, seeds are also pretty normal, but if plants were mammals, that'd be their jizz. I was like, oh,
It's kind of a stretch, but I get what your point is.
But I'm not wrong. I was like, but I'm not wrong. I have yet to disprove that I'm wrong. Like we just like give it different names or whatever, but it's literally like you call it sunflower seeds, but you call it sunflower sperm or something.
I am looking forward to your dissertation where you get up in front of all your peers and say, I would like to make an announcement. I've made a grand discovery. Seeds from a sunflower seeds are nature's jizz. And
we all eat it, and it's cool. So
and they're all going to go, oh.
I think it was like about like just not being homophobic or something like that. Like we all
Several
eat jizz.
hundred
Don't worry about
angry baseball players are all writing into BEAU right now.
They're all mad. Every one of them.
It was like maybe coming up with an argumentation and not be homophobic or something. I'm like, man, we all eat jizz. Like it's cool. Like just don't be so judgy about don't be so judgy about people's kinks and stuff.
Oh gosh.
Or not kinks, but sexual orientation.
We all eat plant jizz. Wonderful. It's wonderful. Well, there you go, chat. Take that.
Tell me I'm wrong. Prove it you can.
And so, in conclusion, that's what's killing console gaming.
Plant jizz. Yep, we know it now for sure. All right, well done. As always, we've really given people something to chew on. So why don't we also give them games we're playing right now? We are playing some games right now. I didn't have a ton of time. I was in Las Vegas, as you know, doing an event, and I was very busy. But I took my Steam Deck and I played a bunch of Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is the recent update. For all the people who are saying it created a bunch of problems for people, it didn't for me at all. I had no issues, and it made it so buttery smooth on my Steam Deck. I absolutely love how well it runs now. So no complaints from me. And all my saves were fine. Everything went great. And I've been playing a bunch of that. And I just finished a side quest that I'd never did before that is really good. I don't remember the name of it, but I had to go with a robot down to a giant dungeon, essentially, full of robots and waste a ton of robots. It was great. I killed robots in Fallout 4. It was fun.
Nice.
You'd think I'd play New Vegas while I was in Vegas, but no, I played Fallout 4 while I was in Vegas.
You were playing actual Vegas.
Yeah, actual. I was playing real Vegas while I
Old
played.
Vegas, in a way, right?
Exactly. And then more Monster Train on phone. I mentioned that before. Nothing new there. Just a great game. Quick note for those who have not been paying attention, the fantastic and never bad and always good Loop Hero, which has been on PC and consoles for quite a while now, is now on phones and tablets. So it's free to try, and then if you want to buy it, it's like $6. It's nothing. It's stupid cheap.
That's
And it's the full game. There's no ads. It's not like anything weird. It is 100% just Loop Hero, and that is a devious place to put Loop Hero, man. I sat on the toilet today, and my legs went numb.
Every time you make a complete loop, please watch this advertisement.
Yep, exactly. Oh, that would suck. Oh my gosh, that would suck. But I got numb legs from sitting there playing that today, and I played a ton of Loop Hero, so it's not like this is, So I'm super into it. I recommend it. It's on phones now. Play at your own risk. The only complaint I would have is that even though there's a text enlargement option in the view options, I think the text is still a little small in some cases when it comes to like hovering over stuff. But for the most part, they've made it very playable, and it's still Loop Hero, and Loop Hero is great, and I really like it. So there's that. I played a bunch of Delta games, the new Delta emulator on iOS. I played a bunch of that over the week as well, and
better hurry up before it gets shut down.
I think, as far as I know, Nintendo has rattled no sabers toward them yet, but I'm not. I mean, it may happen. Is it
based on Yuzu in any way, shape, or form?
No, it's all.
Okay.
But none of it does.
For now.
It purely does NES, Game Boy Color, everything up to maybe N64. I think.
We'll talk about it later in the news, but they did issue 8,000 takedown notices to Yuzu forks on GitHub. So,
oh shit! Really?
That's a lot of work. 8,000 cease and desists.
That's a ton of work, dude.
Yeah. So I'm like, chances are they're aware of Delta, and Delta's days are numbered.
Well, Delta's been on Amazon on Android for a really long time, and they never did anything. I don't know if this there's like a Rubicon. They pass this, and it's like, oh shit! Both major phone platforms are playing our old games.
I think it's like how much it flies under the radar.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Nintendo put just a little bit of this effort in making their old library available easily on other platforms?
Yeah, I'd pay them.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
I would pay them without hesitation. You just need to just give me the library. Don't be precious about, open the box and see what's in there this week. Don't be doing that shit. Just give me a service that lets me play all Nintendo published titles. And if there's some third parties that want to join in, great, put those in there too. I'd pay for this. I mean, people can say, well, you already do it. Switch Online. No, they piecemeal it, and there's some weird shit in there. It's not great.
It's not the way.
Some are okay, but most of them are bad. So anyway.
It's like if you want good pizza, you don't go to Little Caesars.
No.
Like, I'm not anything about it. Like,
good.
It's cheap. It's affordable. Like, it's a great deal.
It'll fill you up.
It's not what you want if you want good pizza.
Right. Exactly.
So,
and you want that good pizza. Now we got to go into some dark alley and get good pizza. That sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want dark alley pizza.
Me neither.
Just bush burgers for Bo.
That's right. That
well,
Reinhardt.
I put them in the bush, so I know.
What'd you say about the Reinhardt that walked by? You had a comment for the Reinhardt. What was it?
He looked at it as it went by and he went, Reinhardt's not that. It's bigger than that.
Yeah, he's bigger than that. Where's my bush burger?
Real Reinhardt. Real Reinhardt's bigger than that. This guy's got a massive suit constructed.
Yeah. I mean, look,
it wasn't very nice
walking
of me.
around here.
I'm sorry. It wasn't very nice of me.
No, it's one of my favorite stories ever in the planet. You can't be sorry about that story. I love that story.
I mean, it was a genuine reaction. That's why it's hard, but still, the guy probably put a lot of work into his costume.
I'm going to take that to whatever rest home I'm in one day. I'm going to laugh about that there. That's a great story. It'll never leave. It's burned into us. Yeah. Anyway, bunch of that. Having a good time there. Mostly playing Fire Emblem and stuff like that. I have a table, and that's pretty much it for video games. Not a lot for me this week because I've been out. I plan on playing way more. I got a hold of an early copy of that new Prince of Persia Rogue thing.
Oh yeah.
I'll let everybody know what that looks like. I don't even know where this code came from. I'm still waiting to get confirmation that it's real. If it is real, then I'll play it.
They definitely didn't know that there were 3 hosts on the show.
No, they did not.
Wherever it is, whatever dark, seedy neighborhood this code came from.
I did send them. I sent them an email saying if it's possible, I would love 2 extra codes. I did do that. We'll see what
it shouldn't be on you, Scott. It should be on them.
I agree. And many of them are being better about that, but some of them aren't. It's weird. But anyway, I'll let everyone know what that's like next week if they'll let me. I'm not sure it's even under because it doesn't come out until the 15th or something. Anyway, we'll figure it out. The other thing I played was a game so big shout out to Deucey in our community. He's all over the Discord and often in chat rooms and stuff. He comes to TMS Vegas and helps run our big board game event that we do on one of the days. This year we had 6 hours in a ballroom and in the casino. It was great and loved having the extra time. And he sat me down with another 7 of us or something, and we played a game called Feed the Kraken.
Oh.
And it's cool. That game is great. Now, many people have played the game called Secret Hitler or variations of it. It's basically somebody knows that it's like Among Us, but more complicated. Somebody knows they're the imposter or the bad guy or the whatever, and everybody else is trying to suss out who it might be. And sometimes it changes hands, and you do things with your eyes closed, and then find out later that the person next to you is going to stab you in the back the whole time. It's like one of those kind of games. And this is all pirate themed. It was a total blast. I think this thing is just like available to buy as far as I know. Originally it was a Kickstarter, did really well. Feed the Kraken is freaking great. Yes, BlizzZabub13 says social deduction games. That's exactly what it is. And we had so much fun playing that. Highly recommend it. If you get the deluxe edition, you can get the little pirate ship and the Kraken pieces and all the stuff, and that you can hand paint them and finish them and stuff. They have a less expensive, just icon thing. But anyway, it was super fun. And as usual at these events, I get all kind of wild about, I want to make another card game. I want to make another board game.
This is what it fuels. You're like, what if I made one?
Because I got an idea that I think I'm going to try, but for now, this is it was very cool. So Feed the Kraken, available now. John, we should have put this under both play because it's been a couple of weeks, but I also played Stellar Blade. It was the demo. I didn't play the full game.
Really? Okay. Well, basically, I essentially played through the demo because I haven't played it much. So
good. Then
I feel like our play experiences are probably pretty close because I played basically through the intro.
Yep.
And a little bit beyond.
And we should talk about it because this is the first time in a couple of weeks while all this controversy has been flying around about Stellar Blade. We're not going to get into all that shit. All right.
What controversy.
I know. Exactly.
Just joking.
Well,
Exactly.
actually, in a way we are, because I will say for patrons who get bonus core content, I made either the informed decision or the mistaken decision to ask a Discord what they wanted a more core content discussion about, and they voted for the Stellar Blade controversy. So if you want to hear at least one of us talk about it, that is coming, but I didn't record it yet because I was like, oh, there's no sense. Scott can't even post it yet. So
Right.
It couldn't be any worse than my nature's jizz bit. So
I'm
I put the
probably
bar
not,
real low.
not going to talk about it until, but that'll be soon. That'll be soon.
Yeah, watch for
But
that.
we're going to talk about something that ironically had nothing to do with any of the controversy, actually playing the video game.
Sure.
Imagine that.
Yeah, weird. Let's do it. Let's start with you. Like I said, I only played the demo. I think the demo went so far, and I don't know how much further it went. I will say I had a decent time with it action-wise. The action gameplay's pretty good. But, all the skimpy outfit controversy aside and all that freaking weird shit, what do you think of Stellar Blade?
I think Stellar Blade seems really cool. It strikes me, there were a lot of comparisons drawn immediately to Nier Automata. And I definitely see why. They are very, very similar games in their design. But, I started playing it because I was in the mood for a, action, kind of light RPG mechanics, big bombastic third person game.
Yep.
This perfectly fits that. Like it really falls into that. It's very like over the top in its scale and its scope and the things that you're doing. Like it opens with a really big explosive set piece, and combat seems good. Having a little trouble getting the timings down. I feel like the timing could be tighter on it a little bit, but there's some games where you play a third person action game and you're like, oh, this is way off. This is really bad. This is not that. It just feels like everything that I'm like, no, I perfect blocked that. No, I perfect dodged that. I'm currently wrong more often than I'm right on those timings. And I guess right now I'm the Simpsons meme of like, no, it's the game that's wrong. It couldn't be my skill issue. The game has timing issues.
Sure.
I just haven't gotten used to it yet. But I think it has a really cool look. I think it looks great. I think the music is awesome so far. And I think the game controls and plays very well. I like the aesthetic. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm having a good time with it. And,
that little robot that follows you around, which I think maybe happened at the end of the demo, but is that like the robot in Nier where it's shooting for you and fighting with you? And
he hasn't done jack shit for me so far, except be a voice in my ear. I'm sure he will, because there's like an inventory thing that I can open for him and customize him. And like right now I see like on this, he's like pinging and pulling up, like scanning stuff.
Yeah.
Right now he's just telling me like, hey, come back and save your game. You didn't save your game. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I want to teach you about save points. I'm like, okay. Right now, he's just tutorializing me. But I'm very early. Again, I've made it through basically the opening sequence and a little of exploring the city afterwards. And then it was time for core because I started playing it today. So,
all right.
I haven't played it too much. I'll probably talk a lot more about it next week. But I thought I would do something crazy and talk about the game part of this game instead of just how characters look and how outfits look. I really do think that it's a bit of a shame that there's so much controversy around this game because I think the game's really good. Like, I don't think it deserves to be inundated with so much like back and forth on on it. Like, I think that there have been games like this before. There will continue to be games like this. I think arguing about the merits or demerits of that is a silly
Isn't
thing,
it
in my
just Lara
opinion.
Croft? Isn't it just Tomb Raider? Like,
No, nothing like Tomb Raider. It's more like, I mean, from what I played anyway, it feels more like Bayonetta, a Souls-like, and Nier all had a
okay,
kid.
like Tomb Raider with a combat system. Like, it's
Right.
just, it's a third-person adventure through a level. Like, and you fight enemies.
Definitely that, but it's also weird and futuristic in some ways, and then fantasy in others. And
like, yeah, the skin is maybe different, and maybe the combat maybe is better. Like, but I'm just saying, like, from a level of abstraction, we're talking about a third-person action adventure game.
yeah, third-person hack and
yeah.
slash action adventure. Sure, that's totally true. So one other thing I was going to say, like graphically, I think it's really nice. This is a Sony exclusive currently. Which is kind of ironic. I just realized you got a Sony exclusive on the week that you think they're killing consoles.
I didn't say that they are actively, but yeah,
Oh,
I
no.
mean, no, like, look, it's fine. Like I
Oops.
said in that discussion,
Yeah.
I don't want this to be true, but I sat on this game for a lot longer than I would have. Like, if this had been on PC, I'd be talking about a lot more of this game because I would have played it a lot more.
Good point.
But
yeah,
it being on console, I was hesitant because I was just like, I haven't played Rebirth yet and all of that. Like, should I really get another game? But yeah, people, I am by no means telling people they shouldn't buy console games. Like, go buy console games, play what you want to play.
yeah.
And if you
want.
like console gaming, especially buy console games to send the message that, like, hey, this is still an important audience. Like, go do it.
Yeah, do what you got to do. The other thing I thought about the game when I was in the demo anyway is the girl that's there with you at the beginning, your partner or your, I don't know, she's another agent like you or another version of you or something.
Yeah.
I really liked that character.
Why are you speaking in past tense?
Well,
Scott?
I guess because it appears to me that I may not see her very much anymore. Let's put it that way. Part of me was like, oh, can I just be her? Can I just choose her? So far as you know, in the retail game, I can't. This is her, right? You're playing Eve, and Eve is all you're going to be. You don't get to choose.
Sure, but what do you like more about the other girl than this girl?
In the demo anyway, she seemed less robot-y. Like this girl's very like, oh, what are we doing? Why? What's up? And the other girl was like, come with me, Eve, if you want to survive. She just had a real...
I can see that. I think that makes sense. But maybe the story is about discovering your humanity. I don't know what the story is going to be.
Yeah.
I would assume there is more to it than just girl go / aliens. But that could be it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know either way. I don't know if you get other weapons than what you have. I do know there are other outfits. That's been made abundantly clear before I bought the game. But so maybe you can even, dress her up as the other character. There's a weird option where you can decide how long her ponytail is. Now there's only two options. There's like long and short.
Yeah.
But I did switch it because like the long ponytail, I don't have a problem with it, except that it's so long that it super clips through everything.
Oh yeah.
And it drove me crazy. Like I can't do hair that clips that badly through everything. So I shortened it up and it fixed my primary issue with the game for the first couple of seconds.
Yeah, if it wasn't
this hair is
the real. It
distracting.
sounds like the real controversy.
Yeah, this is the real. You guys really, we were misled, quote unquote. This is the real controversy. Here's the thing, though, about this whole business. I do think this is increasing sales. All of the stupid conversation, like take out of
For
the
sure.
yeah,
like
take out of the
1,000%.
if you take out the just the vitriol online and realize that these are bad people met with bad takes and it's all just shit. I guarantee the bottom line for this game is way better as a result because everyone's talking about it. So,
Because if you really want booba, like Steam's got you covered 6 ways to Sunday. You don't need this trashy game. Like if you want sex games, right?
Right.
Like this is the least controversial thing if it ever gets launched on Steam in terms of that, like whatever that prudence or what like just being like, oh no, what does this say about women? And this is sexualization of whatever. I'm just like, have you been to Steam?
Yeah.
Like there's store pages you open up and the first thing you see is banging, like camera right in the crotch. Like you click on the store and it's just like, okay, this is on Steam. So I don't know. I don't like it. Really, if you were a conspiracy theorist, you'd say it was on purpose, but it probably isn't. It's probably just it does have a lot of eyes on it. It is interesting. It's well done.
Yeah.
So it's just,
what's the old phrase? Nothing. There's no such thing as bad PR or whatever it is.
Yeah,
it feels like that.
I mean,
well,
it's just what we talked about. How every time conservatives, shoot up a pile of beer cans, the beer sells like crazy. Like, or they burn their Nikes because they're being too woke. Nikes go up in price. Like, literally everything that gets shat on is the best. It's the best you can hope for now. If you're selling any product and a bunch of people decide they hate it, get ready to open up your money wallet.
Yeah, it happens.
A whole bunch of money is going to start pouring in.
It happens.
Start shopping for your yacht and your second home in another country.
It happens just as quickly when lefties do it. Like if you announce a boycott,
sure.
you're not actually. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
people buy more.
You don't want to see the game they don't want you to play. Like it's as American as apple pie or whatever. Like it's a tale as old as time in our countries. So yeah, good job, Stellar Blade.
Well done, Stellar Blade. I mean, it's it's their first major game. This Korean studio. Like in some ways, I'm like, all right, give these guys, what they need. In some ways, Helldivers had a similar trajectory of controversy and excitement and everything all kind of combined to create a big zeitgeist for them, and they're still
they flirted with the irony in such a way where you could read Helldivers as not ironic, and that'll get people arguing forever.
And it sells copies. Literally sells copies. So
like
yep,
pretty much.
This is 101. But anyway, I'm glad you're enjoying it, John. I'm curious. I keep hearing the final third is a awesome. Like it's the place that's where you want to work toward. Like it's an amazing tail end of the game. And since you finish games, you'll tell me.
I have a better chance of seeing it than you.
Oh, guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I'm going to stick with it. Again, the biggest hurdle for me is just that I don't play on my PS5 very often. My gaming time tends to be shared with my wife, and she likes to be on the PS5, so that's a harder element of it too. But I really like what I played of it, and again, I think it's kind of weird that most people are, so focused on outfits and censorship that I think one of the core elements that's missing from the conversation is game seems pretty rad too. Yeah. Like it falls right into that kind of comfort tier, at least so far. This could change either way, but so far my experience is it falls in that comfort tier of gaming where it's not the insanely huge AAA experience. It doesn't feel like it lacks polish. It's just sort of that it's a game that's fun to play and you just play it.
Right. Yeah. Which, sorry, Chad, I'm spamming you. I'm not trying to. This thing's not working the way I want it to.
Scott, kick Scott out of the chat.
I've been trying to tell people what games we're playing, and I'm trying to format it so it doesn't look like a big dumb run-on sentence, and it's not working in the chat. So sorry, everybody.
Just posted it 4 times.
Yeah, and then I meant to put John's, and then I realized, oh wait, how do I format this? And then mine just repeated 4 times. My apologies.
They're calling for you to be banned for
That's
spam.
Right. Well,
from your own chat.
That sounds like our chat room. All right, John, also a little Fallout 4. How'd that go for you?
Yeah, let me tell you about my Fallout 4 experience, and then possibly, depending on how spicy I want to get with this, let's farm more engagement. This is going to be, we got to top some of our YouTube comment numbers. We got to go all in. Let's do that right now.
All right.
I got Fallout 4 to work. I talked about this last week. I tried to play Fallout 4 post this new update. I got it to work. I had to go into an ini file and edit it in Notepad. Had to change a stupid number in an ini file, but hey, I got a video game to work on my computer. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. But yeah, I did. It as chat was spamming, it was refresh rate issues that the game still has.
Yeah.
You'd think that causing all my problems.
You'd think. I mean, I'm generally kind of pro Bethesda's games, but you'd think a game that came out in 2015 with frame rate issues then that are it's still the same shitty fixes for that. You'd think they'd have that worked out. I know we said this last week, but
yeah,
it's stupid. It's so stupid.
I don't know. So I know one of the big featured updates in this was that the loading times are better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what they were. I wish I did because they still seem really bad. And I have an NVMe hard drive, a really good one, and it's still bad. It's not good. Yeah. Every now and then I'll get one that's instant, and I'm like, oh, what a refreshing world we live in. But I'm still spending what feels like 5 or 6 seconds on a load screen. Now, I know 5 or 6 seconds doesn't seem like a lot, but let's really test it. Let's do something that's going to drive Scott crazy. Let's do 5 to 6 seconds of dead air on this podcast and see how long of a time that really is. And actually, it might even be longer than that. Hold on.
Let's try it.
I thought I'd have a quicker way to do it here. Okay, I'm gonna do a timer.
Okay, and we're gonna be dead quiet when it happens. So here it goes.
So here's the load screen. Ready and start. All right, and I'm gonna tell you now that I've experienced it, I'm underestimating how long those load screens are. They're longer than that. And this is a game that came out years ago. It takes CyberPunk 2077, we'll get to why I know this, shorter to load the entire fucking game from the menu than it does for me to go back outside because I accidentally clicked to the wrong door in Fallout 4. It's insane.
Yeah.
They're pretty slow. That doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
Well, but, okay, I did notice a pretty good jump from... Okay, so when I loaded on my Steam Deck, the initial load from the with the menu, with the music and the camera zooming slowly into the power armor and all that, when I hit continue there, that load is long. It's like really long. Once that's loaded, though, I've noticed that when I'm zoning from place to place, I am getting better load times. That being said, it feels like they're marginally better. And everybody was talking about quick, speedy, this, that, and the other. I don't see it either. Not like they promised.
Be freaking instant. Like, I'm not a game dev. It's not my job to understand why it is or isn't. I'm telling you, this game is old as shit, and you're going to tell me that the load screens are faster and it still takes this long? It's embarrassing.
It's something about the way these games are made. I could be wrong about this. I'd love to hear people write in about it, but because the games are... so my understanding is this is complicated because when you walk into a building in the Commonwealth and you load in there, it's loading the initial state of it, and that initial state could include thousands of dynamic objects that you could go mouse over and decide to pick up and take with you, or to move, or to drop, or to knock over. And when you leave, that state is saved. Like whatever you did in there, whatever you took out, whatever you jumbled around, whatever you blew up or knocked over or whatever, that stuff is in the exact geometric
XYZ space,
like all that stuff. Data. Yeah, which computers
so it's saving
did you click?
It when you leave. It's not a matter of loading the next screen. It's the save states that it can unload it from memory.
Which makes sense to me because there are places in 76 that are much faster and way more complex inside them, but also they do a reset on monsters and some of the stuff. So there's places I've been where monsters are back after I've killed them, kind of MMO style, and also I can loot a chest that used to have gold in it. Now it has gold, or not gold, caps in it. Now it has caps again. So I think there's the difference. I think there's something like that going on. I think it's also why Starfield also has what feel like to me too long of load times for a modern AAA title.
I also think that like solid states, like their big benefit is read time, not write.
Right.
Like I don't think write is any faster. Or
good
maybe
point.
Only marginally faster. I think it's the read part that solid states excel at. I could be mistaken, but I remember that was... So when you think of loading, things are supposed to load fast. That is a thing we know about SSDs. But if it's doing a ton of writing, that might actually take time. Yeah. But I'm not technical enough to actually
I'm gonna reiterate once again. That all sounds good. It's not my job to know.
It's not your job to know.
I just want it to be instant. Nah.
Like at the end of the day, if a chef brings you something to your table and it tastes like shit, the story of how he prepared it painstakingly and had to work so hard on it doesn't change the flavor of the soup.
Yeah, but the comparison breaks down a little because if the dish you ordered takes an hour and a half to prepare, while other people have similar dishes but not the same ingredients and the same construction of ingredients takes 20 minutes to make, that's the better comparison. You're waiting for food longer.
Okay,
I'm not saying it's
let's get
better
off the
food.
comparison because we're wading into it. This is a bad consumer experience that told in their patch notes was going to be better, and it's still bad.
Mm.
So this is about 4, right?
Yeah, this is about 4. I'll say this because like Skyrim still has incredibly shitty load times. I think this is that engine problem, and I don't know enough technical stuff to know to be able to say that it's a bad consumer experience is only in comparison to other titles. So you're right. You play something like CyberPunk, and it's fairly instantaneous, and it's amazing how fast it is. But I also know those are very different games. Most of the world isn't interactable. There aren't 50 million little objects I can pick up and move around. I'm not trying to give them a pass. I think I get why it's different though.
Sure.
And it doesn't mean like I don't know what's your happy place? Instantaneous? Is that your expectation?
No,
now?
it doesn't have to be instantaneous, but like the load times I was experiencing in Fallout 4, the improved load times. Again, I didn't go back and play it before the patch. I avoided it until the patch because I was like, oh, I'll get the better experience. Was that it was an annoyance. It was a noticeable annoyance having to deal with the loading screens. And it's two things at play with it. One, they're longer than what most video games I experience are. And two, they're more frequent than what I experience in most modern video games are.
Yeah,
so
fair point.
You're in the Commonwealth, and it's like for some reason this is a building you have to load into. It's not something. And then you go into it, and you have to pay attention to a little HUD element when you target a door, because if the door says open, you're going to stay in that building. But if that door says Commonwealth, it's in the exact same spot, you're going to load outside and then go, shit, I'm outside. I was exploring that building. I now have to turn around and now have to load and go back into that house again to keep exploring it. So it's an issue of frequency of loads, and it's also an issue for how long they take.
Yeah.
And it ultimately just, it was a thing where I was just like, oh, this is just not fun right now.
So you didn't stick around long, it sounds like.
No, I did. I put some time into it. I played a decent chunk of Fallout 4 this week. And besides the loading, like I'm really hyper focused on it right now. But in general, I had a good time with the game, with the experience. My issues with Fallout 4 are mostly on like little things, and then the story overall, the main quest story, I don't like. And so I was trying to just avoid the main story as much as possible, just sort of get my head out of the general conceit of the game and just go around and do what's typically really great stuff in Bethesda games, which is the side content. Go check out what's over here, check out this thing, go to this place. And I was having a really good time doing that. But as I continued to play it, and the more and more I played it, all it made me want to do was play CyberPunk again. And I just kept thinking to myself, I was like, man, I just really want to play CyberPunk. And at first it was like a joke, because to me in my head, it was like, man, the Fallout TV show really made me want to play a Fallout game. Man, playing Fallout games really made me want to play CyberPunk again.
I can't win.
And then the joke got serious, and I was like, well, if all I'm doing is running around this wasteland thinking, boy, I wish this was Night City, maybe I should just play Cyberpunk 2077. So I reinstalled it, and now I am way deep back into playing Cyberpunk 2077 again instead. So I'm having a super good time playing that game in a way that I haven't before. I'm doing a Netrunner build, which typically I'm just a sneaky, cool, knife-throwing sniper person. And now I'm kind of going the Netrunner route. And I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, which, as Bo has already said on the show before, Netrunner build, even on the highest difficulty, it's a little laughable. Like, it's not that challenging.
Yeah, the fantasy of being a omnipotent god that can just one-shot everything, the whole entire building. You don't even have to be able to see them. You can X-ray, contagion your way through the building. Yeah, there's no challenge to the game. And on the one hand, it's like living a fantasy. On the other hand, it's kind of fun to have a challenge when you play a video game. But
yeah, I might do a respec to try and fix some of this, make it more challenging. Although I did get in a Cyber Psycho fight, and those are a lot harder for Netrunner builds in the early stages than they are for people that shoot
early
guns
on. It's when you get to that point of like, there's like a threshold you hit.
Mm-hmm.
Where like every battle you walk into, like there's a building up ahead, there's a gang in there, X-ray, contagion, and the whole room's knocked out. You don't even have to kill them; they can be non-lethal. You can just non-lethal the whole building, collect all the loot, and you're done.
Yeah. So if anybody else is out there listening, and you've been getting into the Fallout games because you like the TV show, or you're just they're hot right now. We're gonna talk more about like just how hot the Fallout games are getting, because it's kind of crazy some of the stuff going on in the gaming sphere as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you're not quite getting the itch scratched by Fallout. Try Cyberpunk. It is a different universe. Like, there's no world where you go, oh yeah, trade this aesthetic for that, and it's a 1-to-1. But in terms of a video game, here's where we're gonna get comments. I hope.
Oh boy.
Get in the comments.
All right.
Cyberpunk 2077 is better than Fallout by every objective marker you can compare them. It is a better game by every metric.
Yeah, but Super Mario Brothers is better than Sonic by every measurable metric I can think. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is you're not saying it's not like ones and zeros. It's like one. Let me put it this way. The vibe and the look and the feel of the Fallout games really compels me. And I love that wasteland combined with that rah 50s, I'm going to nuke you before you nuke me, everybody smile and be happy thing. And the weird music they play, the old-timey shit that's on your radio. Like, all that stuff really combines into something special for me. But I'm not going to sit here and say the minute-to-minute gameplay is as good as Cyberpunk's. It's not even close. Like, Cyberpunk's just... If that's what you mean, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Because I immediately saw someone say, yeah, but I like settlement building. Oh, that's why I said every comparable.
Right.
I can't compare driving in Fallout to the driving in Cyberpunk because one has it and the other doesn't. Any metric that you can compare them and you can take an actual objective stance on which is better, Cyberpunk does it better. Like, it just does. And there'll be some people that say, well, Cyberpunk's a newer game. Here's what I really think.
Mm-hmm.
You can also add Starfield to this list, and it's still better.
Ooh. I mean, I don't disagree either. I like Starfield though. You know what I'm talking?
Like that you oohed, and then you're like, yeah, but yeah.
I mean, look, I really like Starfield a lot. I think that it gets all kinds of shit. It's Fallout in space with a cool shipbuilder, and if the people see that as a negative, I get it. I actually think that's great, and I'm fine with it. All this Fallout play has made me want to get back to that, especially knowing about this new patch and what's coming with it later in the month. So I don't know. I will play Fallout now. I will absolutely play this patched version of Starfield in a couple of weeks, and I will continue to enjoy Bethesda games. They are a reason why they are mega sellers and inspired a TV show that is now a mega hit. Like, there's a reason this shit is all true. All of that being said, if I'm asked, well, where's your game? Where's the best gameplay coming from? I've got a dozen other examples that I would point to. I don't know. I like Starfield. I like a lot, but am I going to call Starfield the greatest game I ever played? There's no way in hell I'd say that.
That's like the story of like all Bethesda games, though. It's like they're always critiqued, like always. Like, every game is like full of bugs. This is bad. This is terrible, and yet people love them, play them a lot, sell them. So it's not. It's like understandable, I guess. In that way, it's almost like a foundational pillar for the company at this point. Like,
yeah,
like both the VR editions of their games literally like everyone's like it's trash, but the community fixed them. No other game company has that kind of community, and it's like, why is the Leaning Tower of Pisa leaning, or why are there Sphinx pyramids, or whatever? Like it's just a mystery. People like fixing Bethesda games, but they won't fix other games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was the second point? Can you just repeat it again?
Why
I
are there
just want to make
Sphinxes?
No, I think. Can somebody play back the tape? Did Bo say, why are Sphinxes pyramids?
No, he
Why are
said
something like
Sphinx-
that. Yeah,
Sphinx
something like
pyramids?
that. Yeah, I heard it also, but I
it
kind
was
of
probably
like,
really dumb for sure. But like,
I
you know
just
what I
heard
mean?
it and I was like, yeah, why are Sphinx pyramid? What?
No, isn't it like
That's
aliens made the Sphinx or something like that? Like the pyramids were made by people, but the Sphinx like was made by, I don't know, an ancient race of beings or something.
the gods. Like you're thinking like Stargate lore, like Ra and all those guys.
I just mean like there are mysteries in the universe. Let me put it this way: there are mysteries in the universe, some of which we can't explain, and why people will fix Bethesda games and love them even in spite of their warts is kind of one of them. But they genuinely love them. But they're like, no one's ever said of a Bethesda game, this is beyond reproach. Do not criticize this. Like, literally everyone criticizes them constantly, but there's something magic about the games.
I
like
think there
Scott was
is
saying,
some
so.
concern though, like because by all accounts, like the modding scene for Starfield is not as interested as it was in their previous titles. So I do think that Bethesda, they're not gonna listen to me. They're doing fine. Like Starfield sold fine. They're experiencing a ton of success on their
I
old
don't
titles. Like I'm by no means saying they have to listen to me, a dumbass on a podcast.
I don't think
But here's what I do think is a bit of a problem. I made a comparison to their games in CyberPunk, not just because it's what I'm playing or that they fall into similar genres, but also launch Cyberpunk. It's not like it ran circles around it. It's a game that had to be fixed. And I think Bethesda needs to get off of whatever laurels it's been sitting on of the community going, of them saying, oh, the community will fix it. And they need to start developing like a modern game developer and fix their shit themselves.
No, sure. I'm sure they say that every time they start. It still ends up the way it ends up.
Yeah.
But the Starfield thing, I think, is unique. I think they're going to go back to a brand that they're good with, probably for the next one. Elder Scrolls, we're guessing. But I think Starfield kind of has a Heroes of the Storm problem in that I think it's hard SF, but I don't think it captured the hard SF fans. I think it captured Bethesda fans.
Yeah. I think
But
that's true.
I don't think it got a hold of the right audience for it. Those people are probably still playing Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen, maybe even No Man's Sky. There's like plenty of games because that's when I play the game as a fan of like the Expanse and stuff. It feels like it's almost like it's in that right vein, but it feels like they don't give a shit about like my spaceship console feeling like space shuttle porn. Like it's got that big. Like I said, I hate that circle HUD. It's like one of the video. It's very generic and arcadey, something I'd expect more from Everspace, which is a great game, but fits Everspace better than this game, which is a role playing immersion thing. So I want like Microsoft Flight Simulator in my ship, right? Like in my SF game. So it's like I feel like there isn't for me like enough there that's like we're really going into the space engineering porn of it all, and it feels like the shipbuilder maybe did that to some extent for people, but for the most part, it tried to be podcast ideas, like the like bro podcasters, and how they're like, what if there's a multiverse, man? Like it's not resonant, but I think they still made a good product for their Bethesda fans.
It did, and it sold really well. It's one of the only AAA first-party titles last year that made the top 10 list. It did fine. I'll argue to my grave that it launched in better shape than any Bethesda game in any memory, recent or long. That being said, it's still this structure. It's this game. And he even said it, as much admitted it in this interview, which we'll get to in a bit. But when Todd Howard was asked why he thinks that game was so divisive among fans, he said, I just think there's a lot of people who would rather get the job done in Fallout or Elder Scrolls, meaning do a lot of the same shit in those worlds and not this world. And that's him admitting that these all kind of follow. They're all the same template, really. You know,
Yeah, but he also said that it was too different of a game. I don't think it was. I don't think it was different enough.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that. We're going to get to what Todd said in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a fair point.
All right. So, anyways, you played Fallout and you got it to work, but then you played CyberPunk.
And I played CyberPunk. It's a lot better. Yeah, I'm having a lot more fun. And this didn't even necessarily need to be on here, but there was a point where I had barely played anything this week, so it's worth mentioning. I played Pokemon LeafGreen on Delta, so I also played some Delta games.
Nice.
I played Pokemon LeafGreen on there.
That's a good one. People like LeafGreen. It's a popular one. That's cool. Did you like how it plays pretty good for a game like that where twitchy controls aren't what matters. That stuff's pretty fine. It's just good.
Yeah, looked great, sounded great, and I was like, this is everything I want.
A little scream feedback, feels nice, little buzz sound it makes and stuff. It's good. Well, there you go. That's what John played. Bo, let's dive into this freaking Manor Lord, which I was really
real
hoping...
gaming event of this month.
I wanted to play it while I was gone. I couldn't.
The most wish-listed game on Steam finally went into early access.
Yeah.
And, well, long story short is I recommend it, even though I don't have a lot of time in it because WoW's taken over my life. However, what I did play, I liked, but I'll explain what's going on with the game. It's a vibe game, right? So you know when you're in a mood for a city builder, because a city builder is sometimes watching stuff, right? And if you're in the mood to hack and slash, city builder's not going to cut it for you. If you're in the mood for this, I'll explain what's going on in WoW, why I'm kind of a little drawn to it after talking about Manor Lords. But it's the most wishlisted game on Steam. It's a one-man developer who's been working on it apparently 7 years. And it was the most wishlisted game on Steam, partly because the desire for great city builders is there, and SimCity's not cutting it, you know. And then the genre has evolved to more of a, minutia-based, smaller city rather than like. There's an audience for the large city builders, but like that Banished, I call it. It's like there's Souls-like and there's Banished likes, and we've had a rash of them, but we haven't had the replacement.
Right.
And the hype at least seems to suggest this is enough of that game, but also very different. So Banished is on a grid when you build. This has no grid, interestingly enough, when you build. Like, it's very flexible about how you place buildings. You have curved roads and curved yards and stuff. It's actually really cool. But what is it? It is basically a game just like Banished in the sense that there's territory and you are settling it, and you start with like 5 families. And this is the interesting, unique thing. In most of these city builders, you have people, you have to build them houses so they bang and have kids. And you got to make sure that you have enough kids because there's generational management. Banished would do this, would make it so that you'd have to manage your generations. Most Banished likes make it easy for you and just sort of auto take care of it. But that was actually a fail state in actual Banished. If you failed to make enough kids, or just if you like made too many kids, then there'd be so many kids turning into adults or kids that wouldn't work. And if you wouldn't have enough workers to make all the food to feed the kids, so they'd starve. And I'm not even sure if this game's going to go into that detail. That is the kind of genius that makes Banished so good. But what it does so far in this game is that instead of managing people like individuals or just being aware of them and working with that, you're organized into families. So let's say you have a hunting lodge you're going to put down. Well, you're not going to assign a worker to it. It's going to be a family, and that family might have a couple of adults and a couple kids, and that's like, how people's last names were like what their professions were like. Your last name's like blacksmith because you're Smith because you were the blacksmith of the village. It's like that, right? So you have these families and they do the job of the family. And you start with 5 families and they're homeless, so you build them burgages where they're going to go move into. And then you got to increase the happiness to attract more families to live in your village. But that's kind of where I'm stuck. I've made more houses. I've got everyone working. I don't know how to increase happiness at the moment.
Bo doesn't know how to make people happy.
And it's that my happiness is in like 40, it's in the 45-50%. If you have 25% happiness, people leave or lower. 50 and to 75, you get one family per either year or month, and 75 or more, you get two. So that's how you manage growth, by having a good village. The issue is, I don't know how long it's supposed to take, and the game has this, because it's a one-person developer, it's not like it explains everything to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really want to go on YouTube and figure out, because they usually over-explain and tell you hacky and cheaty ways. I want to discover how the mechanics work on my own. But I'll admit, I'm kind of stuck right now trying to attract more families. I've only got 5 families, so I can put up all the buildings I want. It doesn't matter if I've only got 5 families to work the various jobs. And I need to keep one family free, because you always have families that are general laborers who have to bring the material to the various sites. Now, the level of simulation in this game is really high. So, and that's another feature of Banished, where it was like, your guy needs to sleep. They need to be happy. They need to go to church and get spiritual. They need a varied diet, or they get sick more easy. They need to stay away from things that'll make them sick. They need clothes, or else they'll get sick from bad weather. They need tools to do their job. Like, you've got to pay attention to all these things. Even if it's at a macro level, you got to provide for them so they're more effective. This game has all of that. But interestingly enough, the level of detail on the simulation is even higher. For example, if you have to bring wood somewhere, a guy can't haul wood halfway across a field. They need to get an ox. And right now I only have one ox. So the whole village has got to share this ox, and we're not getting wood around unless they're using the ox. And I was like, man, that makes sense. Like, no one's gonna, unless you got the Hulk living in your village, like, no one's lifting a log. Logs are insanely heavy. So I think on the simulation side of thing, it goes way harder, and I like that. This does add a different layer that are not often in these city builders, which is combat. And specifically, you need to provision weapons and armor for your troops. And when your troops are fighting, they're not working in your village. So you lose production from your garrison troops that you might, if there's need to go kill bandits, you might equip them with their weapons, do some training, and go kill them, and then return them to their jobs. What this game also features is, it's one big map, but it features like a fictional tile set of territories and competing villages. And the idea is you have victory conditions about how many territories you need to control, and what you need to do to win, essentially, whether it's destroy all bandits or to overthrow the competing rulers. There are bandit lords, and there are actual magistrates and manor lords. That's why it's called Manor Lords. And the idea is there's a bit of a 4X strategy component. It's not as in depth as something as like Crusader Kings or one of these war games, but there is a component where you also have to use your army to expand, claim territory, defend it, keep the place safe from robbers. Bandits are constantly stealing my stone and logs. It's super annoying, but I haven't been able to figure out where they are. If I don't know where they are, how can I stop them? So there's this whole level of the game too that I haven't got to yet because I can't expand my families. But I can already tell playing it. It's got a great soundtrack. The graphics are great. You can walk in your village as a person. Like, you can just go into first person visual mode and walk through the town as if it was a third person action game. You can see your armies that way and stuff too. You can totally just be in the game. It's good. I'm enjoying it. If it's not something you're in the mood for, I'd say you probably can wait. It's an early access, but I really, really like this game so far.
Reviews are good.
Fantastic.
Solid response so far to this thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hype around it. But I was worried people are going to be like, the hype bubble busted and it's not that great. It's kind of crap or whatever. But it seems like it's the opposite. No. People are really into it. So
no, there's a lot of heart and soul in this thing, and it's like mechanically, it's like hitting all the right notes for me. while still being fresh. Where it's like if it was just a reskin of Banished, I already played that game. I know how to play it. There's no new surprises or challenges for me per se, except to play it a bit. So I like that it's different enough for me to be also interested in that aspect. It's good.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I've got it installed, but I have not played it yet. I had to leave town. So.
I like this game a lot.
Nice.
Anyway, so there's that. Now, what's kept me from playing more is, as you know, I have a WoW addiction, full blown WoW addiction. We've talked about beating Second Temple. I don't have much to say other than that. I've concocted the idea that I was I'm gonna try and build Sulfurous.
Oh my lord! All right.
So I'm like. It's just like you think of thing. I'm just like, oh man, what if I built the legendary? I'm like, what goes into it? I was like, oh my god. But I'm like, it would be really cool to raise that up for the core. And I didn't play during Classic. I played during Burning Crusade. I'm like, so I got my hunter. I ditched his leatherworking, maxed out his mining, maxed out his skinning.
Oh no.
And we're mining we're mining rich thorium veins. I got to make my 50 Arcanite bars. So I got my first Arcanite crystal yesterday. And we're trying to save as much money. There's going to be, I'm pretty sure Molten Core is going to be the first 20-man in the next phase. So most of the drops I'll need will be from there. But during phase 3, I can start prepping for Sulfurous now. And that's what I've started doing.
No, someone's got to do it. May as well be you in our cool core guild.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That? I mean, I could bail on it when I'm just realizing, like, actually, this is a lot of work. But the work has begun. I will say that.
All right. Very nice.
I've got to transmute 50 freaking Arcanite bars, and that's a daily cooldown. So I need at least 50 days worth of transmuting, which may mean I get more than one person to do it. But we're working on it.
This sounds like a terrible, terrible life, but I'm glad you're living it so we can talk about it here on the show.
I'm working hard to get pixels.
Nice. Get them pixels, son. Also, Baldur's Gate 3 multiplayer still going? I thought you guys
week. Yeah.
I thought you guys were over with that. You didn't. I thought you finished.
We finished Act 2. We're just on to Act 3. Arguably the longest or the shortest act, depending on how you go through it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we just got to the circus.
Had it in my head that last week was your final boss fight or something. I don't know why I thought that.
It was Act 2's final boss, but we have a whole another act. So that's just been my week. Most of my week has been World of Warcraft. I got my head fully stuffed in that turkey, basically. So.
I like that way of putting it. Well, we're gonna go stick our heads in turkeys here for a quick break. When we come back from said turkey head thing. We're going to talk about some more news that we missed. We got some feedback from you guys and more. We got Dear Martha as well. You think we're done talking about Stellar Blade? Oh no, we got Stellar Blade Martha coming up. Dear Eve Martha Blade Stellar.com. All coming up after this break.
Put all those keywords into your podcast and smoke it.
That's right. We got some sweet SEO going here. But we'll be back in a second. Stay tuned. All right. I'm going to put up a timer. I'll bring us back. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, here we go.
Bring me back. Bring
us back. We're back. Hey, everybody, we're back. Thanks for hanging in there. We got a little Dear Martha to get through. Now, here's the thing. When you're on the front line and you're trying to let your wife know how things are out there, where the blood is thick and the rain is constant and whatever, sometimes really important stuff goes down. And so we're going to let a Dear Martha letter happen today regarding Stellar Blade.
Okay, now I did see the note in here.
Mm-hmm.
I did know Stellar Blade was going to be the topic.
Yeah.
But for anybody that is worried this will not be ad-libbed, I wrote nothing down.
Yeah, he wrote nothing down.
This is still
rest assured, we didn't prepare anything.
Yeah. Please know that just as much thought has gone into this as any other. Although I will say, during the pee break, I did determine that this will not be one Dear Martha letter. This will be multiple Dear Martha letters.
Shit.
Magnum opus time.
So I will just tell you to keep it rolling. Be ready to replay that music cue because we're going to go.
All right. Here goes.
My dearest Martha, you recently spoke to me, and I believe your exact words were, I wish you would stop playing so much alpha male bullshit in your video games.
Yeah.
Well, Martha, I'm happy to tell you. I've taken your words of criticism to heart, and I've decided to play a game with a female protagonist. I've decided to play the video game Stellar Blade. Yours in this life and the next, Papa Bear 23.
Oh my lord. All right, part 2.
My dearest Martha.
Sorry, go ahead.
It has come to my attention that this was not the flex that I thought it was. It turns out Stellar Blade might be a little bit sexist, Martha. The guys around camp told me that I couldn't play this game for diversifying my portfolio, so to speak. That this game is in fact far too horny to be considered a game with feminine interests in mind. So I will not be playing Stellar Blade. Yours in this life and the next, Papa Bear 47.
All right.
Good twist.
My dearest Martha. Okay, settle down. I'm back to playing Stellar Blade. It turns out that this game was made in a different country. And, believe it or not, they let women make video games now. And there were many on the team that made it. So me playing this video game is actually not sexist, even though the women in it are very attractive. So it's fine now, and I will be playing Stellar Blade, and you should be proud of me. Yours in this life and the next, Papa Bear 5. My dearest Martha, I've made a big mistake. People have told me that I cannot play Stellar Blade. It seems that this video game features scantily clad costumes. Now, previously I thought that might be the problem and it ended up being okay, but it turns out it is actually a problem because they've censored the costumes. They previously showed a little more side vagina and boob windows than they do now. So, in protest of censorship, Martha, I will not be playing Stellar Blade, and you don't have to worry. Yours in this life and the next, Papa Bear 88. My dearest Martha. Okay, I'm back to playing Stellar Blade because we may have been misled. There was an issue with censorship, and censorship is definitely bad, but we also need to support sexy games, so I'm supposed to buy the video game, they said, but I can't. I need to sign a petition to play it, and then I can still play the game because I should still support the development studio, but I shouldn't support Sony because they're the real bad guys. Yeah. Yours in this life and the next, Papa Bear 69. My dearest Martha, I think I'm gonna just make up my own mind on video games from now on. Yours in this life and the next, Papa Bear, I quit.
That was great.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That is so much better than talking about all the bullshit around this game. That was such a better way to do it. I loved it. Let us never... All controversies now go through Martha. That's the deal. All right? So much less heat on that shit. All right, well done as always. Let's get into the following extra news we haven't covered yet. Back in Sony's court, Helldivers 2 will now require a PSN login, and PC players are very mad about it. Actually, they had said at launch on Steam that it would require one, but it wasn't ready yet, so it didn't actually happen at launch, but it was up there. So they said they were going to do this forever ago.
Let me ask you a question, Scott.
Yeah.
Because you and I are on different sides of this argument.
Are we?
I think Bo's on your side, so you'll have a friend, maybe.
All right, go for it.
Did you know that?
No, I did my due diligence after I heard about this, and I went, well, why is this a big deal? A, because everyone does this, and B, what's the deal? So I went and looked it up. And
So
sure
you
enough,
didn't know this, but your expectation is that other people should have known this.
no, my expectation is no. I said that's not. I'm not using it in that regard. What I'm saying is, they did this with Diablo and BattleNet. Nobody cared. They did this when Rocket League moved over to Epic, and you had to do an Epic thing on Steam, and people cared, but not that much. If you were going to play Rocket League, you were going to play Rocket League, and that was years after Rocket League came out. Like, I did not understand the freak out. I don't.
Okay,
I still don't understand the freak out.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Because other people did it, does that make it okay?
No, I don't. In general, I don't like it, but I also know why it exists on a corporate level. They want to tie their systems together, and it doesn't bother me. And so I can only speak for me. I can't speak for everybody else. I'm not going to tell them how to feel, but I don't think this is a big deal. You've already been doing this for, at this stage, decades with people like Ubisoft and EA and everyone else who needs you to sign up for a whole other thing. And if you want to play their thing, you're going to do it. And much more egregious ways, by the way, because this is literally just tying the accounts. You're not having to log into some extra launcher or any of that shit. And you don't have to pay for a PSN account. You just have to have one. I think this is like a minor version of this. And I don't know why everyone's losing their shit about it. Except that's what everyone does now, is they lose their shit.
So, but because you don't think it's a big deal, nobody should think it's a big deal.
I did. I said the opposite. I said I can only speak for myself, and I'm not telling anyone else how to feel. I'm saying I was big surprised by this reaction, and maybe I shouldn't have been, because everything gets reactions now. But I don't understand why this is such a big freaking deal. So maybe you can tell me why people think it's such a big deal.
So I think it comes down to... So, okay, let me set up where I stand on this first. My PSN account has been tied to my Steam account for a long time. Smart or not, however you feel about that.
It's already done. It's been done.
It's already done.
Yeah.
So in terms of personal opinion, I, for myself, don't have a problem with this.
Yeah.
People have been playing this game since it came out, and this has not been a prerequisite. They've changed the prerequisite for the game. I don't think that's a pro-consumer move. I don't think it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
Like, it's that simple to me. Now, there is an added wrinkle that there are countries where you can have a Steam account and you can own this game, but you cannot make a PSN account.
Yeah, and I guarantee that doesn't mean they're not going to be able to play. I will eat a hat on the air if they don't either have an exception for that. They will either make an exception, or it's not, or they'll just let it happen, or something will happen there that is not. Well, sorry, you spent $59 on that game or whatever our local currency is, but you're effed because you can't make a PlayStation account. If it's
so easy for them to make an exception, though, why does it have to be in place for everybody?
Because they want that data. They want it. Just like all of them want it.
So don't people have a right to be upset about that?
They have every right to be upset about it.
Okay.
You're claiming
if it's something that's so easy that we can just write off an exception, or we can say, oh, well, it's fine for them. Here's the other thing. They haven't said what they're doing for those places. So you might eat crow or whatever on it. They haven't said yet.
Yeah.
And if I was in one of those countries, I'd be pretty upset not knowing.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It's their job to communicate what the plan is, and right now they're leaving people out in the dust. So I think those people have a very legitimate gripe. Yeah. I think those people should be getting refunds if they want a refund on the game, and from what I've seen at the point of this recording, refunds are not being permitted for this video game.
Yeah, but
if there is a chance that your video game is going to stop working suddenly because they decided to change a metric as a requirement to get into the game, I think those people are due a refund if they want one.
I agree.
And I feel like it is their due diligence to inform those people what the plan is.
I agree.
For the rest of us, do I think that there is a big issue here that's like super bad? No. I do think that, like, make people put money where their mouth is. I do think they should open up refunds to people. I know that there have been people, because I had this discussion on Discord earlier today, that think that's extreme. But if the belief is that, like, it's so easy to make a PSN account, just make one. Or everybody already has one anyway, they can just log into it, and people are just making hay. Well, put your money where your mouth is. Give them a chance to refund the game and see what they do.
Yeah, it's fine
See
with
if
me.
the game gets refunded or not. So I think, to me, they should offer refunds. Now, there has been a statement from, I think it's the CEO of who makes Helldivers? Do you know off the top of your head?
Arrowhead.
Arrowhead, that's it.
So there was a tweet from Arrowhead basically acknowledging that they got reviewed bombed. They themselves said, we deserved this. So, like, here's the other thing. There's a lot of people that are arguing, like, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. The own company is saying, like, yeah, we deserve this sort of criticism for this. But the fact that they're saying, hey, we hope to make it up to you by making a great game and putting it out there, that pretty much tells you exactly where this is coming from. They're not happy about it. Like, that's the most subtle way of going, hey, this is Sony's deal that I've ever seen. Like, it's absolutely Sony's deal. But as it was shared in our Discord from Sony's own website, they say that you don't need a PSN account to play PlayStation games on PC, but sometimes they might offer incentives to link the accounts and stuff like that. So Sony has decided that for Helldivers, for whatever reasons behind the scenes, this is something they want to push as a requirement. And I think that lessens, be it big or small, players' experiences. And I think that deserves criticism. I think that deserves, if you want to make your voice heard in the reviews, I think that's fair. And I personally think that they should, again, put their money where the mouth is and offer refunds and make people say, yeah, I'd rather have a refund on principle than keep playing this game.
Yeah, if people want that, I don't disagree with any of that. I think people, if they really want it, they should demand it. And I also do think it's just bad form across the board how they've handled this. But I also think a lot of people do a lot of performative rage these days on issues that don't affect them. Now, if you're saying that, well, I want to stand in solidarity with the guy from a country who can't get PSN. All right. I mean, that's fine too. You can do whatever you want, but a lot of these people are feeling outraged for people they don't know. And a lot of times that's just because you're bored and you're not actually playing the game. And I think it's a little over the top. That's all. Like, you're not wrong about any of the points you made, but this complete meltdown that I'm seeing online is just so performative because 99% of the voices I'm hearing are not the people who are screwed by this or potentially screwed by it.
Fair, and
people,
I'm not one of them. To
exactly.
be clear, I'm taking their side.
And it's fine.
In this race.
And it's fine if they all if they are all standing in solidarity, but it's like they're not doing it evenly.
But here's where I think I disagree, because you want to know why I'm on this side. Because I woke up this morning and I'll tell you my initial hot take was, I bet they could make a PSN account faster than the amount of time they'll spend arguing about it. Like, that was my hot take. Like, yeah, it's easy. Don't worry about it. But I thought about it more. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought about things like, Scott, I think we only have to go back one episode for you to talk about a game that is either an Ubisoft or an EA game and raving about it because it didn't have to launch their stupid launcher.
Yeah, I love it when they
it didn't
don't
have
do
to
that.
be tied to something.
Yeah.
The companies all want to box us in on this. And saying it's the way it is, yeah, it is and has been. Like, Diablo 4 needs BattleNet, and Ubisoft games typically need the Ubisoft installer. EA is kind of bucking the trend, and we celebrated it here when they didn't do it for a lot of their new releases.
But this isn't a launcher, though. This is literally just
it's not a launcher now. But every time you go, yeah, that's okay, make my experience a little worse. Yeah, that's okay. Make my experience a little worse.
I understand that idea, but
start to give up ground, and I think it's fair to go, you know what? Don't make my experience worse. Tell me why it's going to be better. And all they've said so far is security, and PSN is not known for being the most data secure.
Well, yeah.
I would recommend maybe using a different email for your PSN account if you're going to build one just for Helldivers.
Yeah, no,
hopefully
I
you
agree
don't
with
have to
that.
give any payment information. Like, you could just make
it's
an
free.
account that's the Sony Sucks account name.
Yeah,
and
Sony Sucks at gmail.com.
No payment information. My understanding about it was that it had to do with moderation, like because there's crossplay involved.
Yeah.
So if the PC stuff's like segregated from, if like moderating like bad behavior is segregated, like Sony has no say on what they can do to PC customers 'cause it's not on their network.
Mm-hmm.
They can't ban accounts that they get complaints about for
Right.
their family entertainment system. Well, now they need that agency, so they're introducing that level of friction, which I think is universally bad.
They're also notoriously stupid about communicating any of this, right? Like this is my biggest problem with it, with Sony anyway.
Like it
They're
definitely
just not
sucks to have to log into multiple services.
Yeah, and they're
for
not
sure.
talking about it. And the truth is, you don't even really. I mean, you log in once. Now your account's just tied to it. There's a lot of like I think Portal 2 was the first example of this when it came out on PlayStation 3. You had to do this. You had to tie your PSN account to your Steam account if you wanted to play it on PlayStation. Or I can't remember what the deal was. It was some kind of thing. Gabe Newell went and did a whole presentation on stage and everything. And I don't remember if people were mad or what they were then. Sure, you could say these are all incremental steps to Sony's ultimate plan of having you all signed up to their thing and now you're trapped. I get it. I just don't think. I think people are not being very even about their criticism. I'm not here to defend Sony. I think they blew this thing like they always do this shit. They always blow this stuff. There's no question about that. But I also think that people will take any kind of dropped anything these days and apply the same pressure they would if it was something as extreme as a company who, where somebody was found guilty of sexual harassment internally, all the way down to somebody injected code that may spy on you or not. Like they're not all the same, and they shouldn't be treated the same. But some people will do that. They'll come in just arms swinging. They don't care why. People love it. This Stellar Blade shit that's all out of control is mostly a-holes. It's mostly assholes. It just is. Like there's discussion to have in it, and then there's complete freak out, and I'm just tired of the freak out.
Well, sure, but I think that like again, you can freak out about the freak out too. You know, like I think that it's one of those things where everybody, like the internet is a cesspool at times. Everybody has a tendency to go too far with things. And the more popular thing is, the wider the audience you have of people that have the potential to get upset about a thing and react in a way that's over the top. But I just think that, I think it's fair for people to be critical of this. And yeah, some people aren't going to do it right. But you know what? I think that there are some people that are absolutely on the stop complaining, it's so easy. If it's so easy, or if you don't care, because that's the one I heard the most was people saying like, I don't care, then shut up. Then why are you adding your voice of dissent to it? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have a horse in the race, why is the only thing you're talking about the horse race?
Yeah.
And so I think it can be problematic from both directions. And I think that like in general, it's best to take a look at the people. Again, they don't necessarily need advocates, but take a look at the people that are going to be most harshly impacted and walk it back and say like, is this the way we should be treating our customers of a product? And yes, would my opinion on this be different if the game had launched with this requirement? As that's the other thing everybody points out is they're like, well, they said from the get-go, it was in the little Steam window under prerequisites, requires a PSN account, even though it didn't.
Yep.
And I'm sure it's in the terms of service, which, again, let's be honest, everybody, nobody reads. And I'm sure it was in there somewhere that it was a requirement. But most of us didn't know that until now. And so I don't think it's fair to hold other people to the expectation that they should have also known now. And I think that if it had launched that way, I would feel very differently about this than suddenly moving the goalpost of requirements. Like I sometimes laugh at how much watching like the Final Fantasy talking about new expansions, and they're like, we're really sorry, guys. We want to do this graphical update. We think it's right for the game. This is going to change our system requirements for the game. We're really sorry. Oh my gosh, the system requirements are going to be different. We tried to keep it as minimal as possible. Why are they like, I was always like, it's fine, guys, it's fine. But they're like that because they know they're cutting off some element of their audience. Even though you can say, guys, this game's been out for a long time. People should have upgrades by now.
Yeah.
They know at the end of the day that they are moving the goalposts a little bit for some people, and that sucks. That's why they're so apologetic towards it. And I think the same approach should be handled here. You know you're moving the barrier to entry for a video game that people have been playing with no problem for months. There should be some, here's what we're going to offer as an incentive. Here's our thank you. Here's our promise. Here's something.
Yeah.
I do think refunds are easier, but if they want to come up with something, something besides just like, well, it is what it is, would be nice.
I don't think they want to limit their market. See, that's why I don't think this is going to happen the way people are fearing it's going to happen. That's part of why I don't like the hyperbole and the freak out. There's no way, as bad as they are at communicating this, and they should have said something already, but I guarantee you the way this ends, I'm so sure of this. I'm as sure of this as I am anything. The way this ends is Sony doesn't screw people in countries that can't get PSN, period. They'll just let them keep playing. And you can, yes, there's discussion to say, well, just do it across the board then. I understand that. They still want everybody they can get on their list. So they're going to compromise somehow with that. They're not going to make anybody not be able to play the thing they paid for. That opens them up to all kinds of lawsuit in countries with laws that will screw them hardcore, and they will be out of those countries for good, whether they can be in there now even at all. So they're not going to do that. Everybody who says they're going to, well, they don't know yet because they haven't come out and said. And this is where I fault Sony the most. They don't know how to talk to their player base. They never have. They're very bad at it. The only time they've been good at it was when they announced the PlayStation 4 and they got to pounce all over Microsoft, and Microsoft opened a door for them, and it created a lot of really positive communication for Sony. But when they do stuff like this, it's just this reminder of like, you guys are shit at this. You're bad at this. You're also new at this because you're not really entrenched in PC content, but here you are now, and you're in there, so freaking learn your shit and do it. Someone in the chat says, well, I'm completely on John's side. You're missing my point more than anybody in the chat, because there aren't sides to this. That's my point. There is no sides to it. John's 100% correct of his criticisms. Nothing, I don't disagree with any of them. I also think I'm correct about people being overblown and losing their shit over stuff that either doesn't affect them, A, B, they don't understand yet, they're just doing it because it's the thing to do, and C, if you're going to play the game, play the game. If you're going to play the Twitter game, I guess play that game, but just I'm tired of you doing it, and I will probably mute or block you when you do that shit. So these two things can be true at the same time, folks. It's not like, Sony can be full-on stupid, and they are being stupid. There's no question about it. But what else can be true is we can go, well, we don't really know yet, and it'd be nice if we did because they're dumbasses. I'm not giving anybody a free pass. I'm just being realistic. The future of this will play it out, and my guess is the people who want refunds will get them because they're that mad. And also we have historical precedent for that with Steam alone. Valve gives refunds sometimes when stuff goes south that they had nothing to do with. They will step up and go, yeah, we'll let that. We're going to let these for that weird survival game. Remember that whole mess a couple of months ago?
yeah, that one was.
And there were people that were way over the limit of what they allow for normal refunds, and Valve's like, yeah, we'll do it, obviously, because this whole thing sucked. I don't think there's any reason they wouldn't hear. Yes, Sony's huge. Yes, there's lots of other political, power happening in that dynamic, but I still think they would. Even if they don't, there is zero value in Sony letting this go to the mat and having them just be assholes completely to people who have paid for their game.
And it's not like gamers are hard. I just linked a CD Projekt Red account because they're like, you want a shirt with Geralt of Rivia on it? Mm-hmm. For your CyberPunk? I'm like, yeah. They're like, give us your emails. Like, here's my email. Give me my shirt. You know what I mean? Like, it's not hard to get people on board with this. You don't even need to be that tactful about it. Like, right. It's pretty easy. So
that's the weird thing is I don't know why this is so, like, even if they straight up just went, oh shit, we forgot PSN's not everywhere. We were so sure that we're Sony. We thought we were everywhere. Why didn't we talk to the department that would know what our relations were like with, I don't know who it is, Taiwan or whoever doesn't have it. I don't know who doesn't have it. Third world countries, whatever. The fact that they didn't know that or those two offices didn't talk to each other before a move like this, that's insane to me. But it's possible that the left hand didn't know what the right hand did, and they just said, well, we got to hurry up and do this. We got to go. It's time. The back end says we're ready. Let's go. And everybody does it. And Arrowhead just gets left out of the loop because they're just making the damn thing. They're not
They're
doing
the ones
accounts.
I feel really bad for. The people that are worried about whether or not they can play their game, yes, them too. But like Arrowhead very clearly did not want this to be something they had to enforce. Like it's plain as day that they don't care and that they don't want to do it, but that their hands are tied on it. And they're taking a big hit because they're the first line of defense for Sony on this, unfortunately. And by all accounts, they're a cool studio that, do care about what the players want and all of that. But at a certain point, their hands are going to be tied on this. That doesn't make it okay, but, they don't have a choice.
Yeah. All the goodwill around that game, it's, some players being a-holes aside about the whole whether they're embracing the fascism or seeing it as the parody was meant to be. Forget about that for a second. This is like nothing but a success story coming out of kind of nowhere with a game that nobody cared that much about the first one, and now they're just losing their minds, and it was such good momentum. I have to admit there was a little piece of me that was waiting for some kind of shoe to drop. And it didn't. I didn't know what it was. It's just too positive.
You get those like TikToks that are like, "This game company's unfathomably based."
Yeah,
and and it's like, okay, so they've got that reputation. So like, but they're working with Sony, like that. That's why Larian doesn't want to do Baldur's Gate 4 or any more DLC. Like, if you sort of explain, it's like it's such a successful game. Why don't they want to do it? It's like because their decision making is not only involved with how many zeros are on the end of a check, and that's a deliberate decision to work on their own shit.
Yeah.
But when you take that deal, as in with Arrowhead, you gotta live with the consequences of your decision, which is those people are gonna make the decisions that please shareholders, and shareholders love hearing, "We opened 2 million new accounts last quarter."
Mm-hmm.
So people be mad about it. That they don't really care. They care about the customers in so much as that it will directly impact like the shareholders and the business decisions. So I don't know. I'm doubtful this will be reversed, and it's under the guise of keeping the kids safe, which is a hard sell. Like they might have some examples of some people being really shitty on Helldivers, and Sony has no power to improve their experience or do anything. They could open them up to liability. So the decision actually makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
But is it awful? Does it cause unnecessary friction? Do I want to log into 2 accounts every time I play a game? No. And it's bad. And it is bad. I think a heads up would have been better. But like you said, they didn't talk about it. Sony probably just unilaterally made the decision. If they said they put it on the store page at launch, then somebody had to write that and somebody had to know it was going to be a thing. So
right,
it might have just gotten lost in the sauce. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know either.
But,
I
didn't like hearing it. I hated it. I hate it too. When I log into Doom Eternal, I got to log into Bethesda. Like it's so annoying. It's the worst. I hate it.
Yeah.
However, like it's hard to argue with the rationale, and it's hard for me to sit here with accounts with Blizzard, with Bethesda, with Ubisoft, and look at PSN and go, well, you can't do that. That's a betrayal, when I'm doing it with a lot of other companies. So it seems, I don't know, just like you said, that's because I was really mad about it at first, but then I thought about, well, I do it for so many other games.
Yeah, like what's the difference here?
I'm just biased against PSN. I'm just like, PlayStation,
Yeah, I have a similar bias. I didn't like when Microsoft did it. Remember that when all their Windows games used to force that weird overlay?
Went live for awful. Windows.
I hated that so terrible. Much. It was so bad. And I know what they were aiming for there. It was just a horrible customer experience, and really put me off.
They've effectively
PC games.
done it. Like you have Xbox app and you sign in, and like
they made
2
it.
Sign-ins required for Sea of Thieves. Apparently, I think you need a Rare account and a Microsoft account. Like it's
but nobody lost their shit over that. I do think John makes a point. That it had it launched the way it said it did on its damn page on the day they said it was available, then I think they would have saved a lot of pain. But this also speaks to them just not being ready for shit,
Man.
Like Sony's just not ready. This PC thing is weird to them. They don't get it. They don't get
Yeah,
it. It's
I don't understand. They just keep poking it. They're like, what
think
happens if we poke this part of the PC?
I think they get it. I just think they're staring down the barrel of a gun.
Yeah, maybe.
It's kind of. It's like how Nintendo doesn't modernize. The whole world has 15 million ideas on how Nintendo could do better, and they don't. And it's because they don't want to. They have to.
Yeah.
On some level, whether it's internally, people pressuring them to change, trying to experiment with things, but reconcile the old way of thinking with the new way of thinking. And companies are slow to change.
Yeah. Balooey in the set says, I thought people hated Windows Live and let that be known. That's what we're saying. It sucked. We're not saying they got a pass. We're saying,
but they still got a decade of life or whatever. Like it's not like it existed for 3 months. Like it was,
I don't know how long it was, but it sucked every second.
It was in a few games, for sure.
And you would launch Steam games, and then it would launch that shit. And then
it would break your Steam games.
And
you get extra mad. You're like, I can't play this stupid game.
Now that they've pulled it out, it breaks games it bricked games that had it in it when they pulled it out.
Yeah.
Because the games I don't know if they've patched all of them. I don't know if every game gets patches, but I'm pretty sure when it first happened, it bricked a number of games.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't know how this all ends up. I just think it is in Sony's best interest to get out and ahead of this. They don't often do that. Like someone in the chat suggested, and I agree with them, when the orders come from Japan, sometimes that stuff is just non-nuanced law, like all the way down the rank and file. And if they blow this, that I will happily eat crow if they don't do some reversal on the territories that can't get PSN, because that is some horse shit. But if they do, and they figure out a way to do it, well, I think we should still be critical of it. I don't like this trend in general. But I got so much shit like this now. And a lot of it's very transparent. It's like, it's not a big deal. When I play Rocket League, I don't even think about the associated accounts. I don't even think about it. It's just in there, which I guess is the complaint or people are worried about. But, if I did it there, I would I'm fine doing this with PSN. I don't like how they're handling it, so it makes me mad and makes me kind of not want to. But this is where I have the biggest problem is Sony, just get off your ass and do some PR. Like real customer service.
A Geralt of Rivia t-shirt.
Yeah, just get in there, get it done.
Helldivers already did have, not controversy, but did have some problems with the anti-cheat. Like it's a PvE game. Why do we have to install a cheat that people thought were at a rootkit level? So it's actually a pretty bad
why
one.
is that? I never even really thought about it. Why did they even do that in the first place? It was never going to be.
Well, it is an online game. People do cheat. Like even PlanetSide back in the day was like, it's ruined by cheaters. The devs don't do anything, and they didn't. Like, we've seen cheating in that game.
Yeah.
People just like to cheat and ruin other people's day, and that's how they have their fun. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Fix your game, but also we don't want anti-cheats with a crazy level of access on a computer.
Yeah.
So, well, at the end of the day, like, how are you supposed to detect? How are you supposed to keep up in the arms race if you can't detect? But and also at the same time, I don't want to give rootkit access to anyone on my system. So, but it's already a game that diehard PC players should be avoiding anyway. Like, if you're in that column of like, I run Linux and there isn't a single vulnerability on my system, you're not playing Helldivers 2 to begin with, I'm pretty sure. So.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to Hasbro. They're going to spend $1 billion so that they can find out what anybody, including us, could tell them right now for free.
I may have embellished a little in my summary of this headline.
Is this your editorial?
Yeah, this is his
editorial.
I editorial.
Oh, this
can't
news
say that
article.
Word.
Yeah, I don't exactly disagree though with John's version of it.
I read it and I was like, okay, they just spent $1 billion to find out, I guess.
Here's what the actual headline is: D&D makers are spending meaning Hasbro, $1 billion on their own video games, promising they will be quote quality and authentic unquote like Baldur's Gate 3. I think that is a dangerous precedent.
We're already messing up right at the gate.
Hey, Hasbro,
haven't made them yet.
I've got a great way to save you $1 billion as a company.
Yeah.
Don't do what you just did. Nobody believes you.
Yeah, nobody believes. Not only we do not believe you, I just think that's an order that is not going to work out for you. Like, it doesn't even. You know what would actually? Okay, let's say they manage to make a Baldur's Gate 4 that's actually critically amazing. Okay, let's just say they do. It doesn't matter. Save your money is what I mean, because we've established a watermark that is almost impossible to hit, and in this scenario, you are the scrubs who got lucky, and Larian are the heroes that have walked away after the big battle.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't trust the
so
scrubs.
much credibility, and you lost all credibility.
Yeah, so that will hurt you, even if this $1 billion nets you a quality team and all that, and you fight the whole time about expectation and perception. I wouldn't want to be these people to freaking save your life unless
they already messed up. They said it was going to be good.
They said it was going to be a quality on par with. That is a bold statement, because even Todd Howard, with the stupid shit he's been saying recently, was like, I want you all to know that Baldur's Gate 3 was not a fluke. Like, yes, everybody knows it wasn't a fluke, Todd.
Yeah.
It's just the humility with which you approach it, right? Like, I don't think. You okay, John?
Yes, I'm trying to stop a bug that has decided to assault me this episode.
I thought you were having an episode of something.
No, you're gonna see me slap my head a lot because this bug is like fascinated by my. I can get him. I gotta find a way, and then I'm gonna have a smushed bug on.
Does it have a little PlayStation logo on the back of it, and it might be mechanical? Maybe it's here to get us.
Maybe it's like I'm safe. I've already linked my account.
Oh, that's true. They like you. Yeah,
they
you're
think
all
I'm
good.
Great.
All right, Bo. Sorry,
Anyways, the problem with this is just they haven't made anything. They've just all they have is $1 billion, and they're like, it's gonna be amazing, and you're like, this is like the classic. You don't know if anything's gonna be good just because you have $1 billion. Like, even the people who make the things that are good are like, I hope people enjoy it. We've tried our best. No one's like, I'm making the best game, and it's guaranteed everyone will love it. You can make the best game and no one can like it, right? Like, there's a little bit more to it than that, but mostly it's just like the sheer audacity to be like, we're gonna make great experiences. Like, the fact that they sat down and thought this was a great way to communicate already is a problem. They haven't even made anything yet, and they're already fucking up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I like. They haven't made anything yet, and the first thing they did in this new endeavor was to fuck up royally and be like, it's going to be amazing. And everyone knows it's not how game making works, or movie making, or book writing, or any artistic endeavor. Artists don't know if their shit's going to be good. They don't even think it's good after it releases.
Yeah, a lot of them won't look at it for a year because they can't stand what they've done, and then they find out later that it was brilliant.
People will tell you it's amazing, and all they'll see is the imperfections or hate it, or that was an error. So just to like, and it's just the secret's there. All they got to do is just stop being sycophants. But they fire all those people, and only the sycophants remain.
We video games got big, and it's like regular corporate shit now. It's just the same. This sounds like them talking about a new refrigerator. Well, we can promise you that old model, that Model 100, that was awesome, but we are going to equal and surpass that with the Model 200. Nobody hears that.
200. We're doing 2000 next time.
Yeah,
That's
nobody.
How good it's gonna be.
Nobody hears that unless you have a track record of doing this every time before you started bragging about it. That's my thing. Like, you can be. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example.
Well, it works with fridges, though. Like, the next fridge is going to be amazing because, maybe it'll be function of good quality.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like the new Ford Mustang, or what is it, Ford Ram? Maybe it's a great vehicle. I don't know.
The Ford Ram.
The Ford Ram 2024. It's still going to be even better than Ford 2023. Like,
those are two car manufacturers, but yes. I like.
What do you mean?
Rams are Dodge, and Fords are other things. That's fine though. It's fine.
Nerd.
The point. Your point is well. No, I think your point is dead on, right? Like, but also if Ford had a terrible track record with a shitty truck, like tons of shitty trucks, and then one good one came out of nowhere, but it's because we hired another car company to make it, and now we're going to go back to making them ourselves. That's not credibility yet. That's just, you got lucky, dude. No. You got lucky and licensed it. They paid to take your IP and make a thing. You didn't even pay them to do it. What are you going to do with this $1 billion? It seems really dumb to me.
Like, why would you even brag about it? Just start making the game and shut up.
Yeah, make a game.
Why do you have to tell us that you have $1 billion and don't worry, guys, we're going to make a game? Like, obviously it's to sway I guess this is what happens when you have companies that are publicly traded built on quicksand.
Yeah. Yep.
Like everyone's panicking to be like, "Don't worry, no quicksand here." Like this stuff.
That is what it sounds like. It sounds desperate like that.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about it. Oh, no. We're good. Hey, remember, like, nobody's actually been able to bask in that success much. Even Larian's like, thanks for all the awards, but we're moving on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're done. Yeah.
It's
We're
such
gonna
a
go make
bummer.
2 other things that aren't this.
It's
That could
such a
suck.
bummer.
Like they could be awful. Sven could you could have this crazy idea that just doesn't work and everyone hates it. And nothing's guaranteed with art, right? Like, I mean, it's
No,
crazy.
ever.
Like, it's crazy to even, it is so crazy to even just assume that things will do well and be critically well received. Like, anyway.
Yeah, it's nuts. Anyway, there's that. Nexus Mods has increased their subscription costs due to increased Fallout-related traffic. Thanks a lot, Todd Howard, once again.
Yeah, driving up the cost of Nexus mods.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy. That's just a testament to how successful the show is. Although I'm actually super glad this happened because it reminded me I need to cancel my Nexus mod subscription because I did subscribe to get all the the bajillion mods I got to combine New Vegas and Fallout 3 into one game.
Yeah.
I did subscribe for that, and I was like, oh shoot, I have to cancel this. I do like their site, but I don't use it enough to justify.
Not to justify an increase. Yeah, the other problem I have with okay, so I get it, right? This is like a genuine increase. There's no question about it. Everyone, anywhere anybody has any direct connection or semi-direct connection to Fallout content is experiencing this bubble.
Yeah.
When this passes, though, they're not going to lower these prices.
No.
So I'm a little annoyed by that.
Yeah, but also I do kind of give them, like, I think anybody that's dealt with like data and storage and bandwidth knows that this is pricey. I believe them when they say this was a necessary cost increase. Do I think they're going to lower it? Absolutely not. No. This is a nice way to get your foot in the door and go, now we're going to make even more money when this finishes.
Oh, I totally agree.
I do agree with you, but I also I don't know their numbers, but if I had to guess, I would expect that they saw massive increase to cost to running their website.
Yeah, they've even given some numbers, things like over 700 CPUs and 5 terabytes of memory to help serve around 4,000 incoming web requests per second at peak times. Like, they're having a moment here, no question. But we're in complete agreement. They basically saw a window. Well, we need to increase to handle this, but also we want to have an increase anyway, and it'll stay.
Yeah, but what if? Like, that's the dream. The dream is having a good excuse to raise your prices. Because, like, companies do backflips right now to try and explain to you why they're raising prices for subscriptions, and they do a bad job of it.
Terrible.
Somebody who has a legitimate reason, they're like, oh, no, we got a good reason. Yeah, they're going to be thrilled. They probably have wanted to do this multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah, you look for your window and you take it, I guess. All right, let's talk about Todd Howard. He thinks a whole bunch of things because he had a big interview. And as a result, he talked about all kinds of stuff. He wants to get Fallout and Elder Scrolls titles out faster than they currently come out, which is, about 10 years apart, at least the IPs of like Fallout.
He doesn't have $1 billion like Hasbro.
Yeah. I mean, they do have kind of endless money now with Microsoft, which he didn't really address. He didn't really say, well, now that we've got the deep pockets of Microsoft, he basically just acted like they're still sort of indie out there. But he talked about wanting Fallout sooner, wanting Elder Scrolls sooner. He dodged around questions about prioritizing Fallout over Elder Scrolls to take advantage of this. I would have probably answered it that way too, because I don't think it's reasonable to expect them to suddenly rush a giant project like one of these, like a Fallout 5, over Elder Scrolls 6, which presumably was going to come next, because this hype will settle. It will calm down. It'll calm down around the time that you realize that Nexus Mod didn't really need your extra money, but now they still have it. That's when it'll happen, and you'll go, well, shit. And then we're maybe even be a little burned out on the topic because then
Also,
we'll have a
there's
season
going to be a
2
second season.
Right.
So maybe you make it your goal to have something in line for a second season.
He's like, all right, I know we haven't done any work on it, but can we have a game done in time for season 2?
Season 2,
Like,
get
it's
it
like
out
8
there.
months. We need a whole ass video game.
Yeah, Fallout Shelter 2 is close
They
as
probably
I get to
could
that.
take mod content and officialize it and release something, you know.
Yeah.
I will say that I do feel a little bad for him. I think some of the stuff he said was really dumb. I think a lot of the stuff he said about Starfield was really stupid. But I will say I do feel bad for Todd in one aspect, which is I do think he's absolutely, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Everybody's like, well, why don't you have Fallout stuff ready for your Fallout show to take off? He didn't know.
No, none of them
Like,
did.
there was no way that he knew. They're doing the best they can, and you can't make a game come out of nowhere. I did look. We probably are going to be almost 10 years, if not 10 years and beyond, when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
Yeah.
Because it was 2016, I believe, unless that was a special edition date.
That was special edition. The original game was 2011 for Skyrim. So
So we're already over.
we're
10
already
years.
over it.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're almost 10 years to the special edition.
Because we had their release date was 11/11/11, and they tried to do that again with
that's
Starfield
right.
and screwed that up.
right.
They couldn't do it.
So yeah, it's been a long time, and Elder Scrolls, by most accounts, is the next thing in line. And if they tried to rush something out, they would get raked over the coals for whatever state it's going to be in when it comes out. So I do feel a little bad for Todd in this regard because
It's a lot of expectation.
as we've said, they get a lot of flack. And I think that they are in a position where they're going to get flack no matter what. And I do feel bad for that to a degree.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a great situation to be in. Great that people love your product, love your show, and are flocking back to your games. But nobody knew that this was going to happen. We all went around the horn and said what we thought a Fallout show was going to be, and none of us were optimistic.
Of us were right.
We were hopeful.
No, none of us were correct about how good it turned out or how great it turned out. And let me tell you this. We have other examples of shows, like let's take Last of Us. An incredible show. It went really well. It was one of the biggest things watched on HBO for that year. The follow-up seasons, just everyone's very excited. That's a huge selling game. Everyone loved it. But you know what didn't happen? We didn't have a rush on Last of Us game shit. It didn't happen. People love the show.
People weren't
they already
in a
like
rush
the thing.
to be sad again.
Well, true, but
That's a very different vibe.
There's factors like that for sure, but also, I mean, obviously Halo didn't hit all the right marks for a lot of people, but same thing. Twisted Metal, same thing. There's good video game content being made in television form, none of which created runs on the store, and that's what this is. And how would they expect that? I wouldn't have. There's nobody smart enough to do that. AI's not good enough.
I think they probably saw some sales. No.
Oh, they saw a ton of sales. That's my point. Oh, you mean the other games?
I mean the other games.
Probably,
but
Witcher
not... probably got sales. Witcher was first season was well received anyways.
Probably some, but I don't think it was like this. When nobody was doing concurrent player record breaking, nobody was doing any. This is the best selling game in Europe.
I would say this is one of the biggest ones for sure. Like it's by what I'm seeing in the press, at least in the numbers and sales and stuff.
I think it also hit a really interesting sweet spot where, I'm not going to say universally, but Scott, you had this reaction. I had this reaction. The show succeeded in making me want to play the game. And I don't think that was necessarily a goal for the show, but it did a fantastic job of it. And I don't think that's a goal for most video game TV shows. And I don't think most video game TV shows accomplish it. Mm-hmm. But there was something about Fallout that just immediately made me go, I want to be in this world. I want to spend more time in it. I'm sad that this series is over and I want to do more in it. And I don't know if that's because it was so one-to-one that it was very easy to look at the Fallout show and go, well, I could be in this world doing this right now if I played that video game. There were even reports saying that they were 3D printing models from the video game to make props for the TV show. That's how closely adherent they were on certain things. Yeah. And I think that what all that translated to was it showed you what that sandbox could be. I would say Cyberpunk Edge Runners is another great example of a show that did this, that made me want to play the game. And Cyberpunk Edge Runners, it's that music. It's that city. It's, you can find the places in the show, in the game. Like, it is 1-for-1 in places. It's just one's animated and one's the game.
It's the world that draws people in. I want to be in the world, and I get to be my own character, too. That's the other thing. You're just not replaying something you're watching on TV. You're doing your own story. I think that it's just a lot of coming together of disparate reasons why this one popped, and it popped in a way that none of them saw coming. Microsoft's probably just like, gosh dang it.
It reminds me, I got to play Cyberpunk.
Dude, Cyberpunk's great.
I haven't played the expansion yet.
You should play
that's right. And Scott hasn't done the horror sequence that we have to do together.
I'm still saved there. I've played a bunch since, but it's mostly clearing up quest shit in the other city. I
saw you play it a little bit the other day, and I was like, we gotta do that. We gotta do it.
I was only in there for a hot sec, but actually, you know what I was doing? Funny enough, to your point earlier, I was testing load times there versus Fallout's load times.
Oh, no.
Were you really?
Yeah, I really was. Because I had just done it. I'd just done the big, long initial load, and I went, well, this doesn't seem improved. And so I just thought, well, what's it like with, I can't remember. And I went, well, let's try this, because it was installed. This is all on my Steam Deck. And it was just like, I was like, right in. That game's a technical
Cyberpunk
marvel.
actually has shorter load screens than you even think, because they make you hit a button to go into the game.
Yeah.
And I forget about the button sometimes. And usually about the time I go, it's taking because of me.
Yeah.
Because I haven't hit B yet to go into the world.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, what else we got? All that Todd Howard stuff. By the way, the Starfield stuff is coming. June is the release window for the DLC, the new story, which they call Shattered Space. And
wait, is that no? Shattered
right?
Space is later. No, they did not give a date for Shattered Space.
Oh, I'm sorry. June is the showcase.
Said the fall.
That's right. Showcase is June. They're going to show it off in June. That's what it is. They're not going to. It's not going to be out. But there is a patch coming.
Patch, I think, in a week or two.
Yeah, a week or two. They're going to introduce performance modes on the console versions, 60 frame and a 40 frame performance modes. It's a couple of them, and then the standard 30. It's in there now. And then there was one other thing I read. What is it? Shit. Can't remember. There was another. They're adding maps to all the cities and all that stuff. People have been begging for that.
They're putting ship decorating is one of the big features in the game.
Yeah.
They've said, because as soon as I read that, immediately I'm getting angry again about Starfield flag went up, because ship decorating is bullshit. Because as soon as you modify the look of your ship, it just takes everything you had in the ship and puts it in the cargo hold. So why modify it if it's going to all fall apart immediately?
Will it still do that?
They said they're doing something to lessen.
Okay. See, I think this goes back to that thing I said earlier. I swear, that engine is designed to keep track of every thumbtack in the building. And I think.
So what if they stopped keeping track of every thumbtack in the building?
I don't disagree. I'm playing. I was playing Fallout this week.
Idea. What if that was something they stopped tracking?
I was playing Fallout this week, and I realized, man, I sure check every drawer and every shelf and I look for every piece of loot I can see, and it's exhausting. Like, I don't want to.
It's like, to what end?
To what end exactly? It's just too much. And Skyrim was the same thing. Too much. The thing I like about Elder Scrolls Online is they give you the feeling of stuff is lootable in an MMO, but there's a limit. Like, it's not crazy. You could see a basket, open it, and find out there's some rice in there. Cool. Walk a little ways, see that there's a shelf full of books. I don't have to look at every book, just that there was a book there, and it gave me a skill bump. And I didn't have to do anything special. I just read it and gave me this skill bump. Like, they figured out a way there to, I think, streamline that stuff. I don't know why they can't. Like Starfield, I think would be a better game if I couldn't pick up everything. Because that used to be impressive, right? Like in the early Fallout 3 days, or even Oblivion, you were like, holy shit, that cheese wheel? And I can collect cheese wheels and have a whole house full of cheese. Like, that seemed like the future. And now it just seems tedious to do that. I don't know.
I mean, just judging by my Skyrim inventory, it was just full of everything, nails,
Yeah.
boards.
I'm gonna use these nails. I might have something to do with these.
Just every kind of potion imaginable, like a whole apothecary's worth of potions that I never click.
Yeah.
And then you just load it all in your storage in your house.
Yeah.
And don't do anything with it.
Yeah. That's about right. Speaking of space things, there's an Everspace 2 free update adding new legendaries and incursions. They're also working on porting the game to Unreal Engine 5. It was previously Unreal Engine 4. So you might say, what's the deal? Well, 5's got some big advantages. Whoops.
Wow.
Why did that all repeat? Sorry about that.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know why that happened.
Yeah, no, Everspace 2 remains installed on my system. And I was like, oh, shit. I always had this feeling of like I messed up when I stopped playing a game and then I stay away from it long enough that a free update comes out. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm late. I'm just like, because I'm still like working my way through the campaign and doing stuff in that game. And I really like that game. Everspace 2 is a phenomenal little space shooter game.
Yeah.
I love it. And I'm just like, oh man. So
I'm a huge fan. So excited
and
to
they're
see
porting it over to UE5 is gonna be great. It's gonna look so good, man.
Yeah. Already looks really nice. I think it'll just improve things. So watch for that. Diablo 4's fourth season is called Loot Reborn. They're doing it again, aren't they? They're doing it again.
Wow, thank goodness they learned that lesson.
They're doing it again. So they're Loot 2.0ing this game. Sounds like it actually looks pretty good. What I've seen, I watched the video.
You watched the Fireside Chat?
I did. I think that sounds like a lot of good stuff, legitimately. So I will
I
check
thought
it out.
so too. I might be playing season 4 because the interest in the itemization was always just I don't know. This looks way better. I mean, there's not much incentive to play past 100. They're trying to put that in the game. I liked what I saw. So
yep, I'll watch and see how that goes. Also, Nintendo issued 8,535 takedown requests for Yuzu clones on GitHub. So if you got a Yuzu clone, I would get out of that business and move on to something else.
Fork or whatever. Yeah, it's the number that really made me interested.
8,535. That's insane.
Like, surely Nintendo's needs a break. They've been very busy lately, and it's like, nope, let's do 8,000 more. Just kaboom.
Do they have like a lawyer or a lawyer chart every year that says how much law firms make? Because whoever these people are, they got to be making bank with Nintendo.
I wonder if it's an internal group versus hired on retainer. Like, they're so active, they probably just have their own.
Own legal department, yeah. But just imagine
a lot of times companies outsource, right? Like you'll retain a law firm, but I think these guys have their own.
Imagine
you'll have a regulatory department, but then you'll have people who do external as well.
Can you imagine like the legal? What are they called? The ones that make sure they have to write up all the docs, print them all, send them all the right places. What are they called?
Notaries.
No, not notary. It's like that though. Legal secretary or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think I kind of know what you're getting at, but I don't know the term either.
It'd be funny if it was just like Miyamoto in a back room somewhere. They're just making him do it. You either make a game or you're doing this.
Passion.
Yeah. Make a new game or you're doing more paper pushing, you slow ass mother.
He's into two things: making classic video games that will stand the test of time and pursuing legal action.
That's right. What a life. Finally, a priest, that is to say a man of the cloth, stole $40,000 from the church to play Candy Crush and other games over several years. The guy was siphoning church funds to pay for his addiction to Candy Crush.
Man. Well, the money goes back to God.
There's a lot interesting there because I feel like he's not a well-informed gamer like we are. That would be my assumption. He's like, Grandpa, oh, it's just a fun little game, and they want $5. Well, I don't have $5. No one's gonna mind if I borrow $5 from the church. Like that's how I imagine it started, And then like 1 3-year binge later, he's like, oh no, I've failed God. I've taken $40,000.
I've taken too much, and all the candy isn't matching anymore. Oh shit! Yeah.
I've stolen from parishioners. How will I ever pay them back?
Yeah, I do like this.
I'm like, there's something to it where it's like, at any time he could have just bought a Super Nintendo. You know, like it didn't have to go this way.
I love that Bo's not mad at the principle of it. He's like, why did he spend it on Candy Crush?
I mean, I'm just saying he wouldn't if he borrow. He'd probably still be in trouble if he borrowed 300 or a couple hundred for a PlayStation 5 or whatever and Stellar Blade. Yeah. Imagine Priest playing Stellar Blade. Yeah, I'm just picturing there's a parish right now with like 6 priests that are like, "Do you play Stellar Blade?" And they're all hanging out in the back playing Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
But you know, it's sad. This 40,000. You know, it's a lot of money.
It's not just a lot of money,
and
but if you ask me,
donated money.
If I would rather have him siphoning church funds or being predatory to
no we definitely
I like that Scott approached that sentence and you could tell that he was like, there's a tactful way to say this and a non-tactful way to say this, and he really debated which way he was gonna go with that.
We love our mobile game playing priests, and we don't like our pedo priests. Okay, so if you're gonna commit wrong, Candy Crush is definitely the better of the options.
Do you think
However,
ever said
it's still wrong? And you know, people, if it's your own money, I don't know what the salary of a priest is.
I don't either.
If it's your own money, then fine. But he took the money.
I'm
gambling.
It is
that's
gambling.
What gamblers do.
That's right.
Scott, can I have $10,000? I've been losing that.
I know it's all I need to get
I've
back.
been losing at the tables.
Yep.
I got to pay rent. I'll get you back to $10,000 next month.
Yeah, it's all it'll take.
I'm going to triple it, and
Yeah.
I'll give you 15 even. You know, just like, can you front me 10,000?
Yeah. Well, here's what I picture, and I'm going to picture this whether anyone wants me to or not. But this priest, he's so deep into this that when he sits up at the what's it called, the podium, all right, and he's looking out on his flock, I'll bet he's so into it that he'll see 3 women all in white, but they're separated by seats, and in between them are 4 dudes in green, but they're not lined up either. So he says, "Brother so-and-so, could you please move over and swap seats with Sister Karen?" And then he's trying to make they're lining up so he can make his matches even when he's just trying to teach the good Lord's word. That's what I think's going on. That's how hooked he is.
I I knew where you were going the second you started saying this, and I just couldn't stop picturing him up there going, just swiping at everybody while he's talking, trying to line them up.
And people are like, "Oh, he's blessing us. He's doing one of these." No, he's telling you to move
over. No, he's just trying to put the 3 old biddies together so they'll disappear.
So they'll disappear and give him points. Exactly. All right. That's all she wrote for that. We do have a couple of quick notes from our listeners.
That's a good question.
And here they are. Whoops. I just killed the window. There we go. This is a text that came to us at 801-471-0462, and it came from, didn't give it a name. Well, anyway, it says, "So I was downloading Microsoft Flight Sim on Friday night, and I noticed it was 2.1 gigabytes download and 157 gigabytes storage. Has Microsoft's AI managed to figure out some insane compression algorithm? Another 160.86 gigabytes mandatory download. That's with a big G for all you following at home. MSFU," he says. What you're seeing, I think, is in Flight Simulator was like a flagship for this, but this is them using Azure in a kind of stream it in when you need it kind of way. So they're using back-end cloud stuff to service that game. Fairly well too, by all accounts, but that is why you get these weird numbers. Like some of that's offline, some of that's online.
It's for what it's for the size for the mapping, right?
Yeah,
so
correct.
That they can use actual
sky
space photos. I don't know what to call it, so I just called it space photos. But you know what I mean.
You know, photos from space. Those ones.
Space photo.
Sure. We got them cameras up there. May as well produce some space photos.
And them taking pictures from space.
We also got one from Shanafan. He says, "This is for me, for Scott." He says, "After spending a good amount of time now playing on the Steam Deck OLED, do you think the upgrade was worth it?" Nobody's asked me this yet. That's kind of an interesting question. And I just sold my previous Steam Deck to somebody at the TMS event in Vegas. And I hope she loves it because I loved it a lot. It is worth it for me. I don't think that's going to be true for everybody. Like that screen is a massive improvement over other screens I own on other things. Like it's so nice. It rivals
Screens can be a big deal, man.
Yeah.
It's a big deal between Quest 2 and Quest 3.
Yeah. It's beautiful. But also my
Just
battery
depends how much
life's
you value
better.
it.
Battery life's better. The trackpads work a little better, a little tighter. There was another thing I liked about it that was a really small change, and I can't think of it. Crap. Was it slightly faster memory? Something. And it's noticeable on loading and stuff unless you're playing Fallout 4. but it is noticeable in all those areas, and I'm very, very happy with it. No complaints, no regrets. And also I like that the new charging cable is like double the length of the previous one. I hate short charging cables. I want to plug that in bed and not worry about snagging it, yanking it, pulling it out, bending it. And every cable you get from anybody
I feel the same way.
These are my concerns when I'm in bed too, man.
I don't know why all
I
that.
feel the exact same
No, I know
way.
what you mean, though. I've got a really long cable for my cell phone because I
Yeah.
usually toss my cell phone in bed in the corner. It's
Yeah.
a pretty big bed, so I just toss it and then I plug it in.
Yeah.
You know, if I wake up and I'm like, oh, let me look at my phone, I don't want
Yeah.
to yank it. Like, I want to be able to pull it all the way on top of me.
Yeah.
And so I can look at it and then put it back. You know?
None of this is sounding right. But I agree with you because I know what you mean. And also,
We like long cables here on Core, okay?
that's right. I also think the carrying case is cool because it has a Velcro lip on the front. So even if you've zipped it shut or don't want to zip it shut, it's like a quick way to just make sure it's sealed and pick up and go. It's a very small thing, but I like these little tweaks they made, and very happy with it. It's most people are probably going to be fine with the OG one. It's fine. They really didn't change that much. So
this conversation made me think of the funniest thing. I'm watching G1 Transformers, right?
yeah.
I watch, and at one point, Optimus, I can't remember the context, but at one point he unironically yells out, "Autobots transform and pull out."
Wow.
And it makes me laugh every time. I scrolled back. I'm like, I have to hear that again. It's really just funny.
Yeah. They actually said that though, like the very
That was-
words.
Yeah, that's literally verbatim. I can find you the episode.
That's
but,
unfortunate. Nice job, guys.
You should clip it, but it's really good.
Just to give a Twitter guy a little acknowledgement here, Lino Brito in the chat says, I miss the instance. I always find it funny when they come into other shows I do and say that. I miss it too, but it's just, to me, it's always a weird thing to see.
Yeah.
So thanks, Leno.
Well, they missed the instance.
What if that was Jay Leno? I miss Johnny Carson. Take that. Just
If
kidding.
it was Jay Leno, he would have said, "You hear about this? You hear about the instance getting canceled?"
You hear about this show? You hear about it?
That is so good.
That's the only impression of him I could ever pull off. All right, that's it for your texts. Thanks for those, everybody. 801-471-0462. A reminder that you can also email us, talk to the core at gmail.com.
Talk to the show.
Talk to the show.
Talk to the show because the show don't want to hear it.
My show's up here. Anyway, patreon.com/core show, speaking of shows, is a place to go to support the show, like these brand new patrons, Adam C. and Ginger John. I assume he has red head. That's cool. I like that red hair.
Maybe. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. John, though, John. You don't like that.
Yeah,
by
I was gonna
principle.
say it was almost me, but with red hair.
But it's nice when you're a patron because of lots of reasons. But you get some cool artwork in the mail from me at certain levels. You get host specials every month when we're not late and terribly busy.
Is it
I'm
my
gonna
turn
do
again?
one. I'm gonna do one, but you can do one too because I think we're late on a few.
Let's check in. Where are we at? So last I checked, I did December, January. Did anyone do February?
Did we?
I did one.
Oh yeah, John
somewhere
did
in
one
there.
February. John did.
All right. Who did anyone?
Because
do
I was
March?
moving March, so March was Scott. It was supposed to be Scott.
I
Did
think
you
March
do
was
it?
supposed to be me, and March didn't happen.
So I
So-
got to do this month.
So then there was. So Scott owes one.
It's me.
Bo owes one, and it's my month. That's where we're at right now.
All right, so if you
Okay.
do one, and then we'll
I'm
spread
gonna
them
do
out.
one on Stellar Blade
Okay,
because that's
all
what
right.
I promised the Discord server I would do.
All right. So you guys are going to get some amazing. You're going to get doubled up plus
We
your
all
regular
have
May.
So
show for you.
wait, do I have this right? March is Scott. April is Bo.
Yeah.
April is yes. May is John.
And May is
May is
John.
me.
Right.
May is me.
and May
all
is
right.
you.
Just
All
write
right.
a little note in our Discord.
That'll be
So
great.
we got to make some content for our patrons.
They'll love it. You also get pre-show content every week. That definitely happened today. And you get no commercials of any kind ever if you're a patron, ever. And if you'd like using Spotify, there's a way to pull it up in that. And you don't have to, it's just that feed, but you have to be a patron to do it. If you want to get that feed in Pocket Cast or a million other players, it works just fine. Even their app, the Patreon app's actually a pretty good podcast player. It's impressive in that regard. Anyway, those are all great ways to get the shows and support your favorite show. So do it. Patreon.com/core show. Do it today. Now, John, we have to decide if we're doing this or not. But are we gonna...
right. Hold on. Let me turn it on. Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay. Grandma had some work done. She's at the hospital recovering. She's going to be fine. Just some hip stuff and maybe a bladder thing or two. And one of her nipples fell and went around the other direction, and now it's facing backwards. So they're going to fix all that shit. She'll be right as rain in both the nipple and hip department before you know it. But until then, we have a special guest here to tell us about what we played this week. So, special guest, take it away.
Yeah, hi. So I'm happy to be here to just sort of remind you of the content you might have missed between the laughs we shared today. So here's the games that they played. Scott, host of the show, he played a little Fallout 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did it in Vegas. He played Monster Train, which I assure you is not just the name of my penis.
Uncle George.
He played a lot of games on the Delta Games app. So there's that.
Yeah.
Which games? Who knows? But he did it.
Yeah.
And he had a tabletop recommendation for us, which was the game Feed the Kraken, which is not just a term I use for sex. So
Uncle George.
John, on the other hand,
Family show.
he played Stellar Blade, also not a name for my penis. He also played Fallout 4, Cyberpunk 2077, Pokemon Leaf Green. Bo played Manor Lord, WoW Season of Discovery, and Baldur's Gate 3.
Wow. I don't know, George. I think you did a pretty dang good job. You also sound like one of the announcers on what's that game? What are those games? The junk box? No, what the hell? Jackbox games. You sound like one of those guys. If you know what I'm saying. Anyway, you have a future, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's got a good voice.
Yeah, I like it. Thanks, Uncle George. We appreciate it. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week with more. Until then, have a good week.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
We haven't completed our mission.
Oh, well, thank you, Eve.
I
Or no,
haven't.
that wasn't Eve. That was the other girl I liked.
Yeah.
What was her name?